Welcome from Steamboat Springs, Colorado, site of the 2024 NCAA Skiing Championships hosted by the University of Colorado. My name's John Nolting. I'm thrilled to guide you through all the exciting alpine racing action this week, kicking off with today's giant slalom on the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club Stevens Family Alpine venue. The trail's called all out, and that should perfectly describe the racing we're about to see, as the slope is in good shape despite all the heavy snowfall here. You can see it there in the trees. Plenty of the trademark champagne powder has fallen on the slopes of Steamboat Ski Resort, nearly 3 feet in the last few days. But Mother Nature's been kind. Let the snow sit up last night. The snow train stopped for just a little bit, and we've got good racing conditions today. Our resort today sits on Mount Werner, named after Buddy Werner, one of the 100 Winter Olympians coming from Steamboat Springs and a former NCAA champion from the University of Colorado. As our first forerunner kicks out of the gate and takes to the hill, this will be a test for our camera crew to get organized here and all of us to get our bearings on this all-out race trail. Speaking of the University of Colorado, our hosts for these events, it's the 9th time that the championships have been hosted here in Steamboat Springs. The 3rd time in the past 9 years, and this time the new giant slalom racing venue's always made for some exciting racing. This course, as we get our first look at it, got out there this morning with all the snow. I would describe the surface as Colorado packed powder. It's not quite racing ice. It's not what you World Cup fans saw at Aspen by any stretch at the World Cups last week. But it should be good and fair, and it did get cold last night, so it set up a little bit, should make for some great racing. Typically this hill, it's a relatively easy hill when the conditions are like this, and I would describe the set this morning as a relatively easy set. Pretty direct in the fall line. If the snow were faster, the terrain would really be something to watch out for as we take a look at these first couple forerunners. I think the key today for the athletes is going to be really putting it down the fall line as our forerunners get to have a little bobble in there. Even the forerunners might be carrying some nerves out here today with the spotlight on them for the NCAA championships. The last 3 times we hosted the NCAA championships here, it's been the University of Denver hoisting the championship trophy. But DU hasn't won since the last time in 2018 that we were here. Since then, it's been the University of Utah dominating the winners of the NCAA title since 2019, a streak we haven't seen since the 1970s when Bill Marolt's University of Colorado Buffaloes were the dominant force. In fact, the only thing that slowed the University of Utah down has been COVID in 2021. This year, though, the hosts, CU, coming in with the hot hand. They won the home meet on this hill, the Spencer James Nelson Memorial, just a month ago. They also took the title up in Montana at Big Sky for the regional championships. So CU coming in as our forerunners continue on the course. We've got 4 forerunners. So is it going to be the University of Colorado this year, potentially taking their home meet? It's been a while. Out east, it was the University of Vermont sneaking past Dartmouth College to finish the season on top in the east. And Bill Reichelt's Catamounts are overdue for a championship win. In fact, the last time they won, it was 2012 on the soft snow up in Montana. So they could be a force out here at these NCAA championships. Could the trophy go back east of the Mississippi? With the pressures of the NCAA championships, where every single result counts, anything can happen. So today's race is bound to be exciting. The nerves will be in play. Fast results up to this point, they don't matter. It's how these skiers handle the nerves and the pressure of the championship when every race counts. Looks like our final forerunner on course now. As we get things clear and ready for our race start. Based on the forerunners right now, snow conditions looking great. I think we're going to have a good, fair race today. The course will bump up a little bit. This section in here down near the bottom with the speed and that terrain could be a factor. But I think the main test today is, can the racers compete with a clear head and fearless attitude, because there is speed to be had on this course. You can feel good at the end and not have been fast, as our first racer, Leon Nikic from the University of Alaska Anchorage, kicks off on course, and we are underway here at the NCAA Championships Men's Giant Slalom Racing at Steamboat Resort. Leon Nikic kicking things off. Now onto the flats. There's some built-in rolls there on the flats. Nikic getting a little bucked on one of those rollers. Be interesting to see how that comes into play as Nikic passes pick point onto the lower section. 21.41. He sets the pace at our intermediate timer. Nikic looking good down here on the lower pitch. Now the hill starts to flatten out. It's been no problem for Nikic to this point. Nikic was fast here in February, scoring in the top 5. It looks like a good run here for Nikic. A little bit of terrain right by the bottom. No problem for Nikic as he'll set the pace. Leon Nikic from the University of Alaska Anchorage reaching across the line, and he sets the pace. We are underway here at the NCAA Championships. Now on course from the University of Vermont, Kyle Alexander. As Nikic sets the pace with a 51.76, it's Alexander, the catamount. Off the upper pitch, now onto the flats. Into his tuck goes Alexander. Speed to his liking. The giant slalom is his time to shine. He's looking to score some big-time points for the Catamounts here in the GS and hopefully contribute in the slalom, and it looks good for the World Cup veteran from the Canadian national ski team, Kyle Alexander, racing for the University of Vermont. This is a good-looking run on the upper part for Alexander. He's about 4/10 behind Nikic at the intermediate as he approaches now the bottom. Kyle Alexander into his tuck to the line. Alexander reaching across into second position. His time 52.59 puts him about 9/10 of a second behind the pace set by Leon Nikic. Perhaps for these Eastern skiers, they'll struggle with the light touch required for this soft Colorado snow here on the all-out race trail. Right now it's Simon Strand from St. Michael's College on course. Again, we're going to be looking, what we'll be looking for is aggressive skiing. I think there's no reason for these racers to respect the course. The biggest problem that they could have is potentially over skiing and definitely over edging. There are no tricks on the course today. It's going to be a test of how aggressive and direct can they run with the line, how clean can they be with the skis. Simon Strand from St. Michael's College. Getting a little bit thrown there by the shortcut road near the finish, but no problems for Strand as he's in his tuck and reaches across the line. Simon Strand through into second position with a time of 52 flat. It's Leon Nikic in the lead with a 51.76 as Jean-Luca Boom from the Montana State Bobcats takes to the course. Boom has had some success here on the slopes of Steamboat. All of the RMISA schools competed here at the Spencer James Nelson Memorial back in February. Many of them also here for the Holiday Classic just before Christmas, and boom, looks solid up top. Now onto the lower pitch, a little bit more of a stivet for Boom as he runs a direct line, redirects those skis at the top of the turn, a little bit different tactical approach. Is that going to be fast on this soft snow? Really keeping it running down the hill for Boom. Boom making his way to the finish. Just again, that road just throwing him a little bit, but not too much of a bother as Boom into his finish, reaching across the line, and he crosses into third position with a time of 52.56. That's 0.8 of a second out. Our next competitor getting ready to go. Up in the start, it's Bradshaw Underhill, Middlebury College skier. out of Newberry, New Hampshire. He's a junior at Middlebury College. Physics major as he awaits at the start for our course crew to do some gate repair down there. A fast course set like today. Skiers right on those panels. We expect that there will be some course work being done out there as Underhill contemplates his run. Middlebury, always a school that can be in the mix, always producing some fast racers. I think the direction from Coach Stever Bartlett is to go all out for these competitors. We'll see some little different strategies from the team approach and the team scoring of collegiate racing is one of the things that makes it so exciting here at these NCAA championships. Some teams requiring the racers to make sure that they finish. Other teams giving them the green light to go all out, go for broke, and because victory is the only way that they're going to move up in the team standings. Those squads with a full team of 12 needing to be a little bit more strategic. The teams with not a full squad going for broke as Bradshaw Underhill getting a little airborne off those rollers as the sun tries to peek out here on the slopes at Steamboat Ski Resort. Down to the lower pitches, Underhill. Bradshaw, Underhill. It looks like really good skiing from Underhill. The question is he too hard on the edges? Has he let those skis run enough? I think Nikic had the advantage running in the first position, but the track is great for these competitors as well as Underhill. Skis into third, so that was a good run for Bradshaw. A time of 52.36, just 0.6 of a second out. So Leon Nikic continues to hold on to the lead as bib number 6 now. The hometown boy, Trey Seymour, awaits his start. The University of Denver Pioneer, he's a senior. He grew up on these slopes here in Steamboat Springs, literally grew up on the slope, skiing with his dad and his mom. Throughout these mountains, nobody knows this hill in the race today better than Trey Seymour. Honored to get that spot to represent his school here at these national championships. University of Denver qualifying more than 3 competitors. The coaches had to make their picks who was going to represent. They selected Trey as one of those skiers to hopefully bring that title back to the University of Denver. We talked about it earlier. DU has won the last 3 championships held here in Steamboat Springs, and Trey Seymour's on course. An integrative physiology with chemistry major and physics his minor, working hard in the classroom and on the slopes, and Seymour getting pushed a little bit low on those rollers. You can see the speed is gone as he finally breaks over onto the lower pitch and has a reprieve. So difficult to make the mistake on the flats, and now getting a little bit low there. A little bit dirty in the turn. Seymour trying to relax into his run. Now he seems to have the flow going, sticking his nose in the fall line. Seymour looking to make a move towards the finish as Seymour has the direction to the finish, and he'll cross the line. Seymour into 6th position with a 52.79, just over a second off our leader. Oscar Zimmer now on course, the Dartmouth College racer. Oscar came out and raced the hill to get a little practice during the holidays for the Holiday Classic. Scored himself a top 5 in the giant slalom at that race, so he's got some good feelings on this all-out race slope. The Oslo, Norway racer racing for Dartmouth now onto the lower pitch. Good clean turns for Zimmer. I see a little more shape in his turn, a little wide of the gates there. Zimmer going for a clean line, but is it aggressive enough in this soft, forgiving Colorado snow? Oscar Zimmer into his tuck now as he approaches the lower section past the coaches. No problems with Shortcut Road. And Oscar Zimmer from Dartmouth College to the line, and he crosses with a 52.23, puts him into 3rd position at the moment. A good start for the Dartmouth racer. Up next now, pushing out of the start, Philip Wahlquist from the University of Colorado Buffaloes. Wahlquist from Oslo, Norway, and a skier that's been a force on the RMISA circuit this year. Not as solid here at Steamboat, though, in the races earlier this season as he's been elsewhere on the RMISA circuit, but Wahlquist certainly one of the top hopes for the host team here in the University of Colorado. The Buffalo strong turns down the slower pitch as it starts to flatten out now. Into his tuck goes Wahlquist. He's got to still keep in mind there's a bit of terrain down there as the speed is high through this section. Wahlquist, though, no problems. Philip Wahlquist, University of Colorado, and he crosses the line. The 52.41, putting him into 5th position at the moment. As predicted, we are tightly stacked at the top of the podium right now as our next racer pushes on course. This is Declan McCormick from the University of Vermont. Declan is on a tear, having come back from some great races in Mont Saint-Marie in Quebec and just flat out aggressive racing up in Mont Saint-Marie, and we're seeing it again here on the slopes of Steamboat Springs. McCormick, definitely one to watch. I think with McCormick in the softer snow, the question will be, can he avoid over-pressuring the ski into this soft snow? It looks pretty good for McCormick. Full attack as always for the Catamount as he makes his way onto the lower pitch. No errors for McCormick that I've seen so far. It's been full charge, full send as McCormick from the University of Vermont approaches the line and across with a 52.29 into 4th position.
Come on, Mikkel. Get after it, buddy. Come on.
All right, Mikkel Solbakken from the University of Utah next on course. Solbakken all over the podium here when the RMISA crew came to town a month ago here for the Spencer James Nelson Memorial. So Solbakken one to watch for the University of Utah. This giant slalom race, an opportunity for the teams to get some momentum going into the week. You're not going to lose the championships today. You're not going to win it either, but you can really set the pace, set the tone, and get your squad in a good mindset for the rest of the event. Solbakken, it's been good and clean. We know that Solbakken has good feelings on this hill. He's had good results this year so far. As the Ute approaches the finish, this has been a good one, and we've got a new race leader. Mikkel Solbakken on top again, and that's a familiar sight here in the collegiate circuit at Steamboat Springs as his teammate now, Sindre Michaelbust, makes his way on course. Solbakken continuing to shine here on the slopes of Steamboat. Michaelbust now carving some nice round turns on the upper pitch. Now the hill flattens out, some rollers there on this side. Just enough to get the racers' attention to keep them from holding their tuck across the flats. Over the breakover now onto the second pitch for Michaelbust. Out of Sogndal, Norway, the freshman studying mechanical engineering, having himself a good, solid run. Great to see the freshman representing the Utes here at the NCAA Championships. That is an accomplishment in itself for such a strong program. Justin Johnson, Mary Joyce doing a great job there with this University of Utah Alpine squad as Michaelbust crosses the line with a good time. 52.05 puts him into 4th position. So as we do a little bit of work down there on the course, we can run down our top 5. They are indeed tightly packed, just over a half second separating our top 5 with Oscar Zimmer in the 5th spot. Currently Sindre Michaelbust from the University of Utah in 4th. Simon Strand racing for St. Michael's College in 3rd. Leon Nikic, the Alaska Anchorage Seawolf in 2nd. And Mikkel Solbakken, University of Utah, our current leader with 11 racers down. Harrison Diganji from Colby College getting ready to go up at the top. What an opportunity for Harrison, racing for Colby College, the freshman competing here at these NCAA championships in his first year of collegiate racing. Hails from Stratton, Vermont. In his first year, an EISA All-East team member. I think he's going to have the green light to go full out today. Colby College, one of those teams that's got a good squad out here, but they're really going to need to throw down something special to challenge for those top spots. Staganji awaits the countdown. Course is clear down below. And here comes Harrison Staganji. Good solid turns off the top pitch up here now into his tuck. Moving over that terrain is Staganji. You see the skiers losing their right ski or their left ski as they cross over that bump with the red gate there. But no problems for Staganji. Intermediate timing back up for me on my display here, and it was a comparable time to Nikic's time, so good run up top for Staganji. Onto the lower pitch and across shortcut road. This has been a clean run for the Colby skier. And across the line goes Staganji, and indeed a great run into third. That 51.97 time, well done. Ryder Sarchette now from the University of Colorado on course. Sarchette, your 2024 FIS World Junior Champion in Giant Slalom. Oh, and down on his side goes Sarchette. What an incredible recovery to stay in the course, but that's killed his speed coming onto the flats. Trouble for the Buffalo up here, but I think he's done well to keep things going as best he could. Sarchette missed the race here back in February while he was out competing in France at the World Junior Championships, so a little less experience on this hill. But you can see the skiing that brought him that Junior World Championship title. Oh, and getting all kinds of twisted up and out for Sarchette. Just getting twisted and locked on that left ski, and our first victim of the course today. That is a huge bummer for Ryder. Oh, the skiing was so good between mistakes. But that's not what the host team wanted to see. All right, now from the University of Vermont, we've got Magnus Berge Styron. And on course comes Styron. Styron, one of the Eastern collegiate racers that came out before Christmas to race this hill at the Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic. So he's got some laps. He should be comfortable with the hill, moving well with the terrain up here, getting a little bit of airborne on that roller there in the middle of the flats. Now onto the lower pitch goes Styron. University of Vermont, the last Eastern team to take the NCAA title, but it's been 12 years since they brought the trophy home. Styron would like to bring it back east of the Mississippi again. It's a good looking run for Styron as he approaches the bottom road into his tuck. This is an aggressive run down here towards the finish. Styron coming to the line, and he crosses with a 52.16, puts him in 6th position, and that's a good spot to be for the second run as the racers before him are tightly packed. Now from the University of Colorado, it's Etienne Meslier, and the dynamic has changed for Etienne with his teammate going down. So critical for Meslier to put through a good solid run. The freshman skier out of Quebec made himself comfortable on these slopes in February, skiing well, moving up each day as he gets more comfortable on this hill. But now the pressure's on for the freshman. Can he manage it well? Meslier, a little bit wide on these turns here on the second pitch, but Meslier has such nice touch on his skis. Down now is approaching shortcut road towards the finish. No major mistakes from Meslier. Maybe a little bit wide on those gates, but again, I like how he stands on the skis as he reaches to the line. And we've got a second place finish for Meslier. What a clutch performance for the freshman for the University of Colorado. Now on course, Racing with bib number 16, Hunter Brayton, the University of New Hampshire skier. Getting a little bit on the back seat as he comes off that upper pitch onto the flats. Trying to run direct, trying to be aggressive so he can take the speed across the flats. Brayton, a veteran skier, graduate student working towards his MBA at New Hampshire. And a long time solid ski racer. Good solid skiing up there for Brayton. See him coming off the tails just a few times on those turns, but he's really trying to run an aggressive line. Sometimes, though, when we see the pressure back, the pressure's a little bit hard on this soft snow, and Hunter Brayton crossing 53.02. That puts him into 15th spot. Christian Sovic from the University of Denver now on course. Getting a little buck there early into the course. A wake-up call for Sovic. He's righted the ship now, so that shouldn't cost him too much.
Let's go get him!
Now past the coaches onto the lower knoll. Sovic. Sovic's had some good races on the hill, but getting a little bit thrown there. Nice recovery to stay on track. Didn't get wide. That shouldn't cost him much, but a little heavy edge pressure. And as tightly as our leaders are packed, any little bobble is going to cost him some time. A few small mistakes for Sovic as he approaches the finish. The University of Denver Pioneer crosses with still a great time. 51.84 puts Sovic into 4th position. Boy, he cleans up those few mistakes, and look out for the University of Denver Pioneer. Here comes Isaac Hedstrom racing for the University of New Hampshire. Isaac from Åre, Sweden, and Hedstrom on a tear. He too skiing fast last week at Mont Sainte Marie in the NORAMs, taking the win in the first giant slalom up there. But a different test here today. Up in Quebec, it was icy. Here in Steamboat, it's Colorado perfect pack powder. It looks like the snow's holding up really well on the hill, but not quite that edge in the fast snow of the east that these competitors are used to. It's a good, solid-looking run from Hedstrom, though. Just smooth, solid with his skiing. Hedstrom, a beautiful skier as he makes his way towards the finish line. The University of New Hampshire racer with a 52.23 goes into 9th place. Isaac Starset, our next competitor, ready to go. The Montana State Bobcat now on course. Another Norwegian racer, Starset, a junior studying economics at Montana State. Whoa, getting a little thrown. That's the most air we've seen on that bump. That roller definitely is the big challenge, and those mistakes a little bit costly for Starset. They got to keep the skis on the snow. Every time you come off the snow and land, you're losing some time, and Starset getting bucked out of that turn right there. He's got to right the ship now. These are smooth turns for Starset as it flattens out onto the lower section of the course. One more little piece of terrain to deal with right there. No problem for Starset as he makes his way towards the finish. And I think those little errors up above cost him the 53.07 time, puts him into 17th position. Got a little hold on course right now as we do some course repair. It's Gray Flanagan from St. Michael's College getting ready to go here next. Gray hails from West Burke, Vermont, studying civil engineering. He's a sophomore at St. Michael's College. I was up on the hill at the NORAMs of Mont Sainte Marie with Gray last week and saw some great skiing out of him. Impressive. Good attacking skiing, and I think Gray's one of the competitors that's got full green light from his coaches here in this event. St. Michael's College skiers looking to make something special happen. They can really go for broke on this hill. And this, aside from some of the terrain that you saw on the flats and a couple turns on that lower pitch, really this is an attackable course here today. Ray getting the countdown on course. Flanagan with that early tuck that just signals that he's got an aggressive mindset today. He's ready to race and ready to attack this course, and he's absolutely flying down this upper section. Really letting the skis run nicely up top for Flanagan, and he's managed the terrain well. Flanagan now onto the lower pitch. His intermediate time just about a half second behind the fastest up there on the upper pitch. Getting a little bit behind it down here on the lower pitch though. See him working off the tails of the skis. Gray now working towards the bottom section of this course. No problem over the final road. Gray Flanagan from St. Michael's College into his tuck. And he'll cross the line. 52.82 puts him into 17th position. All right, up next from Westminster College, this is Jeremy Lagier, the French skier, living now in Salt Lake City. He's a senior in the sport management program there at Westminster College, and he's on course. Oh, getting a little bit twisted there. Coming onto the flats now for Lagier. He's definitely throwing it down the hill. Lagier seems to be having the time of his life racing out here at Westminster College. Seen him here in Steamboat at races for a couple years and always having a great time. He raced in the World Pro Ski Tour here a couple years back and did quite well. Just really enjoying his ski racing experience here in the USA on the NCAA circuit, the French skier. Doing well for Westminster College as Lagier approaches the finish and crossing with a 52.88 puts him into 18th position. Bodie Flanagan, our next competitor in the start. This is a great story from Boston College Bodie. Grew up here in Steamboat Springs, a member of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Always a dynamic skier. He's fun to watch, creating huge edge angles. And so excited to be on his home hill again, the sophomore studying economics at Boston College. Has had a great season getting on the podium at a carnival race earlier this season. So good to see him back on the slopes at home. Flanagan fired up for this day. And a little bit dirty on those turns on the lower pitch. Dirty as opposed to clean. A good clean tracking arc ski is what the skiers are looking for when we see a little bit of pitch sideways and a little bit of snow flying from those edges. That's what we call dirty, as Flanagan has cleaned it up onto the lower pitch. But Flanagan down here, I think the excitement of the NCAA championships maybe caused him to be a little hard on those edges. The 54.67 time. He was hoping for something faster as Loic Chablis now on course. Westminster College makes his way onto the track. Loic running the low line, coming off the pitch onto the flats, getting a little buck there on that bump there at the red gate. Little tense moment for these skiers as they see the ski tip up in their face for a second before they touch back down on the ground. But Loic looks good down here. Again, we've seen a few ski racers taking this direct line. You see them really come right into that panel and then a little bit of steer of the ski before they get to the gate, and then they just stand on and clean through the bottom part of the turn. A little different approach. Some other racers skiing a little rounder line and cleaner at the top of the turn. For Loic, opting for that more direct line. As we look to the time at the finish, we'll see if it's been fast. 53.50 puts him into 21st position right now. It's Max Hausman up next, our first skier so far from Plymouth State University. Max from Reutlingen, Germany. Shout out to all of our fans from Germany watching today's races. It's great to have you with us. The racing incredible, and oh my goodness, we're only 24 racers into this championship, and well, I can't wait to see what's ahead. Hausman looking strong at the top. We see the different approach. Loic just before him with that more direct line. Hausman giving himself more room up above the gate, cleaner at the top of the turn. A different approach. Both can be fast. It kind of depends on the set and the conditions here. Hausman looking solid as he approaches the bottom part of the course. And the Plymouth State racer crossing the line. A 53.20 puts him into 21st position.
Come on, show them who you are. Let's go, Rob.
From the University of Utah now, it's Raphael Lessard. Lessard, the Utah racers, we're not all that far east on Highway 40 from the campus in Salt Lake City for these racers, and these guys came to town for the Holiday Classic. Familiar with this hill, Lessard with some top fives on that trip. So he's ready for the challenge today of the NCAA championships. Good, clean skiing up there from Lessard, getting a little buck just as I said that, but he seems on target today. Giving our course workers a bit of bother up there, taking those gates out, but Lessard, it's good looking skiing as he approaches the lower section of the course. Raphael Lessard across the line, 53.04. Puts him into 21st position at the moment. Course conditions about a week ago here on the slopes of All Out were fantastic. We'd had some good warm freeze thaw situations where it's set up beautifully. And then in the last 3 days, about 30 plus inches of snow have fallen here on the slopes of Steamboat. And the snow's a little bit softer out there today, and I think as we get into these later bib numbers, perhaps we're seeing the effects. The hill's holding up well, but just a little bit of chatter, a little bit of bump, making it harder for these skiers to put down the clean runs that the early runners had as Nolan Sweeney pushes out of the gate. From Colby College, what an opportunity for Nolan. The freshman out of Littleton, New Hampshire, relishing in this opportunity to compete at the NCAA championships. Getting a little bit low there. Those rollers causing Sweeney a little bit of problem, but I liked the top for Sweeney. Indeed, the intermediate up top for Sweeney, in touch. So a good solid run for Sweeney now. He's skied the lower pitch well. Could this be a good strong move up through the field for the Colby Mountain College racer? He's just through the final roll and approaching the finish. Nolan Sweeney, Colby College, crossing the line with a 52.54. Will move Nolan into 14th position. That's a good first effort. Here comes Tommy Hoffman, University of Denver racer, a sophomore from Manly, Australia, studying finance and real estate at the University of Denver, and a good run up top for Hoffman. Trying to work that terrain down here. No mistakes to this point for Hoffman. Little bit low, coming onto the lower pitch, but making some nice turns in the meat of the pitch is Hoffman. His intermediate time up top about 0.7 of a second back. But the lower sections look good to me. Hoffman approaching the finish now, getting a little bit low coming off that road. But Hoffman reaching to the line and across with a 52.79, moving him up into 17th position. These place points at a premium as Max Martin now pushing out of the start. Martin getting the green light to race here. His teammate Oliver Morgan unfortunately unable to compete. Max doing the work to qualify out at the EISA regionals. Oh, and he gets the opportunity to compete today. His coach JP Dugno taps him on the shoulder and says, Max, you're our guy. And he's skiing well up top. His upper split just about 0.6 off the pace. But Martin taking the most of this opportunity. Skiing well down here is Martin. Dartmouth College racer now onto the flatter section. About 10 gates to the finish for Martin. Can he keep it clean, keep it direct? Make the big green proud here. Max Martin coming to the line, and he crosses with a 53.12. Puts him up into 24th position. Roman Frost now, the German from Westminster College, on course. Good clean turns up on the top pitch for Frost. Frost, another skier that seemed to gain momentum with every run he took during the Spencer James Nelson Memorial CU Invitational earlier this season on the slope. This is a good looking run for the German. About a half second off at the intermediate for Frost. Holding it together. Nice clean ski, not doing anything extra. Just trying to let those skis run. The skier from the beautiful town of Berchtesgaden in Germany. Getting a little bit low there, but it's been an aggressive, good start for Frost. That time of 52.89 will move him up into 21st position. All right, this is one to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Gillis from Dartmouth College. I always enjoy watching Gillis ski because he always gives full effort. Oh, and the mistake now up top for Gillis. That's a costly one, just going down on his side for a moment. But the momentum now on the flats is compromised with that error up on the first pitch. Gillis, can he pull the time back? Indeed, the intermediate time shows a difficult story for Gillis up top, over a second out. It's going to need to be picture perfect down here on the lower section for Gillis. He always gives the course a run for the money. And I like the skiing down here on the lower section for Gillis. Over that final breakover, and Gillis across the line, the 53.92 time puts him in 28th position. That was a tough error up top for the Dartmouth skier. Now our first University of Nevada Reno skier on course. This is Ivar Cornelius Walde-Nace. Oh, and the Norwegian getting a little sideways right out of the get-go. Nace has got it under control. Oh, down on his side. Oh, an impressive move to stay in the course, but oh my goodness, was that a costly error right in the middle of the flats for Nace. This will be interesting now. Does he flip the switch and just go full attack mode? He knows he's got to make up time, go for broke. Or is he safe to try to get the finish? Nace skiing well down here on the lower pitch. It's been an eventful run for the University of Nevada Reno skier. Getting his money's worth, as we can say, here at the NCAA Championships. Nace across the line with a 54.86 into 30th position. Charlie Lang now from Middlebury College on course. Charlie from Norwich, Vermont, the senior at Middlebury College, studying political science. You know, we need a few more ski racing politicians in the world. I think I'd feel a whole lot better about things if we had more ski racers in Congress. So let's go, Charlie. The Middlebury skier, no mistakes up top. It's a good solid run for Lang as he's working his way down the lower pitch now. Clinical skiing for the senior from Middlebury College as he approaches the final road now. No problems for Lang. A good smooth looking run. Does it have the speed? Lang across with a 53.46, moving into 27th position. Jan Rohner now on course, the Austrian, racing for the University of Alaska Anchorage. Jan studying finance. He's a junior up there at the University of Alaska Anchorage, getting a direct line for Roner. He's really risking everything here on this first race run of the NCAA Championships Giant Slalom. The intermediate up top for Roner, just about a second back of our leaders. Good solid skiing now. Onto the lower flats. Clean is important down here. Any error in that section can be costly. Roner skied it well. As the Seawolf crosses the line with a time of 54.04 into 30th position. Hayden Dahl now, our final racer here for the men's first run, racing for the University of New Hampshire, is on course. Hayden, great to see a full men's squad for the University of New Hampshire in these NCAA championships. Hayden, a good attacking run up top as he makes his way now onto the lower pitch. The intermediate time up top, not bad. About 0.7 of a second off our leaders. So Dahl looking to make a move up on this run. When you're starting in the back like Dahl is, you got to take it run by run. Move up a few spots in that first run and then do some damage on that second run to get that final result that you're looking for. And Dahl crossing the line with a 53.67 moves him up into 29th. And that wraps up our first run of men's giant slalom. So we get a look at our top 10. And I talked about it before the race. I said this hill often leads to some really close results. And look at the splits on this one. Less than 0.6 of a second separating our top 10. With Mikkel Solbakken holding that first run lead. Freshman Etienne Mazilier, 1/100th of a second behind, and Leon Nikic with that 51.76, less than 1/10 of a second back in third. We are going to have an incredibly exciting second run. It's way too early to call the winner of this race with differentials like this. A lot of competitors still in the hunt. It was the University of Colorado suffering the only DNF on the hill, with Ryder Sarchette getting twisted and running into some bad luck up there. So that's going to make things interesting. Good to see the Buffaloes with Mazilier in that good position. But it's going to be a thrilling race here for the second run. The men back at us at 12:30 Mountain Time. We're going to take a break before the women take to the all-out slope here, starting at 10:30 Mountain Time. Thanks for tuning in with us. We will see you back just in time for the women's race, 10:30 Mountain Time. Welcome back from beautiful Steamboat Springs, Colorado. We are about to get underway with the women's first run of giant slalom here at the NCAA Championships. We had a thrilling first run for the men. 16 racers packed within 1 second at the top of our leaderboard for the men. I think that's a sign of things to come here for the women's race, as the conditions are absolutely perfect for ski racing here in Steamboat Springs. It's been a snowy one for the last few days, but we're getting a little break in the weather, at least for now. Little bit of sun popping out here and there, trying to improve the definition on the hill for the skiers. But the snow conditions are absolutely perfect for skiing, and they're pretty good for racing too. Perhaps not the fast, icy snow that we saw at the Aspen World Cups last week, but fair conditions here we saw for the first run. And anytime you see the field packed so close together, you know that you've got some good racing conditions. So a great opportunity here for the women as we get ready to send our forerunners here and get a chance to see this first run course set by University of Vermont coach Bill Reichelt. A little bit more turn on the women's course from what I saw earlier than we saw for the men here this morning. On a different side of the trail as well, the skiers' right-hand side of the trail, which has a little bit more change in the pitch as it comes down the hill. So it'll be interesting to see. The rollers on the middle flats, definitely more significant on the women's side. In fact, they're so significant that the skiers will be popping in and out of view, I think, as we see them dance through that section. Our first forerunner now pushing on course. We've got 4 forerunners. These guys are checking out the track, making sure that the track is in good condition, making sure that everybody on the hills is ready. That's including our camera crew out there. He's doing a great job. But you see them bobbing up and down over that terrain there. A little bit flatter on that side, though, so speeds will be down compared to the men. The men's course set very fast in there, so the terrain was definitely in play. Now onto this lower pitch down here for the women. This is the steepest part of the trail through here. Much steeper on this side than it was for the men's side. And now it flattens out through that delay onto the lower part of the pitch. You can see the lights on here during the daytime, just trying to give the athletes every last little chance to have definition and see the snow beneath them as we get the view of this second run course. It looks like a good one. The first run for women. So things are setting up well for a great race here for the women. Certainly notable from the team standings. We had a super high finish ratio, which was great to see for the men's race, but one did not finish, and that fell to the hands of the University of Colorado. So there'll be a premium on finishing here for the CU Buffalo women. Talked earlier that you can't win the NCAA championships on the first day of racing, but you can certainly put your team in a whole bunch of trouble. Second forerunner going through the finish there. Our third forerunner on course. 4 forerunners checking out the course today. Our first racer in the gate will be Hannah Larson-Nethorst, racing for the University of Vermont.
In the gate.
Definitely see a little bit more shape to the turns here on this course. Good camera shot of the town of Steamboat Springs, and far in the distance there you could see Howelson Hill, which is the site of the Nordic races. Tomorrow will be the individual start freestyle races, and then Saturday will be the Mass Start Classic. Friday night under the lights we'll be racing slalom over on Howelson Hill, the iconic night slalom. That's going to be a very exciting race ahead. Right now we watch our fourth and final forerunner. Fourth forerunner, that looks like Nicola Roundtree-Williams, Colorado Mountain College skier. Colorado Mountain College, the local college ski program here in Steamboat Springs. Not an NCAA program. The only sport that Colorado Mountain College offers is skiing, so they're not eligible to compete in these championships, but they are an affiliate member of the RMISA and compete in all the collegiate races here out west. Strong program there. So these skiers actually have helped contribute to the good racing conditions. Their coaches and some of the racers helping water the hill for the slalom to have a good icy hard surface over there.
College will be number 3. Olivia Holmes from Jordan.
Roundtree-Williams skiing a good run. In fact, some CMC alumni, we've had some CMC skiers transfer to programs competing here in the championships today. So a good course report from our forerunners, and we're ready to go. Hannah Larson-Nethorst from the University of Vermont will be our first competitor to go from Stockholm, Sweden. The junior studying economics at UVM. She's a transfer from Plymouth State, and she is on course. Our first chance to see a racer here in this women's first run of giant slalom. Hannah won the GS on the first day at Dartmouth College on the EISA circuit this year. So we know that she can put down some fast giant slalom skiing. Indeed, she's setting the pace here in this first run through our intermediate time, 24:83. We'll set the pace, that intermediate time, right at the end of the flats as they break over onto this lower pitch. Now the hill flattens out through this delay down onto the lower section. A little bit low on that one gate. The hill falls away a little bit on the right-hand side in that section. Little terrain over the final road there, but no problems for Hannah Larson-Nathorst. And she's going to set the pace here in the first run, reaching across and setting the pace with a time of 102.21. All right, our next racer on course from the University of Colorado. This is Magdalena Lusak. Magdalena from Poland. And she's had a busy season this year. In addition to her studies, where she's studying business administration at the Leeds School of Business at the University of Colorado, she's been busy on the World Cup circuit, competing for Poland, where she scored multiple top 30s and even some top 20s this season. So Lusak having a good year. She sets the pace up at the intermediate, 23:86, the fastest time up there, using that veteran experience.
Come on!
Lusak just a sophomore, but in ski racing, you could call her a postgraduate with the level of skiing that she brings to the slopes. Lusak making her way towards the finish. And she will cross the line with a 59.42, setting the pace by a wide margin. Lusak, that was a quick one. Now it's Hannah Sethering from Westminster College on course. Sethering with some good results here on the slopes of Steamboat Springs when the Western schools came to town for the CU invite. Those rollers keeping things active for the racers there in the middle flats. Now Sethering passing on to the lower pitch. Her intermediate time, a little over a half second off of Lusak. Big swingy turns down here. A Bill Reichelt special, as his athlete said, as I rode up the chairlift with him earlier. And now onto the lower pitch, Sethering. No real mistakes to speak of, but is the speed there that Lusak showed? I have a feeling that Lusak put down a run that's going to be hard to follow, but there's some skiers in this mix that certainly are capable, as Sethering crosses into second right now with a 101.13. And we go back to the start for Olivia Holm from Dartmouth College. She's got a hot streak going. She was the winner in the Eastern Regionals. They're at Middlebury Ski Bowl. Into her tuck early is Holm. It's an aggressive attitude. Getting a little bit late there coming into the delay on the flats. Any mistakes there in the flats are accentuated because you don't have gravity to help pull you down the hill in that section. Indeed, third fastest at the intermediate for Holm. She's nearly a full second behind Lusak, our current leader in the finish. Good turns down the lower pitch there for Lusak, but then getting low in the delay. Holm quickly into her tuck. The Dartmouth College racers definitely working hard. There is full effort here from Holm as she makes her way towards the finish line. Olivia into her tuck and across with a 101.50, moving her into third position. Up top now, it's Madison Hoffman. The University of Utah Ute is one to watch, ladies and gentlemen, completing the rare feat of taking victory in the giant slalom and the slalom last year at Whiteface Mountain in these NCAA championships. Madison Hoffman, one of the top skiers in the field today from the University of Utah. She won here the first race here for the University of Colorado Invitational as well, and put another second place behind it. Hoffman from Australia Sydney, Australia. It's her senior year, so she's looking to go out in style. Fast intermediate, second fastest up there, about 4/10 off the pace set by Lusak earlier. Hoffman, it's a good solid run. This is aggressive down here on the lower section. A good looking run for Hoffman. This is going to be close. Lusak in the lead at the finish. Hoffman reaching to the line, and Hoffman moving into second position. Just 7/10 back. Now the University of Denver on course. This is Liv Moritz. Moritz, the freshman out of Vail, Colorado, knows this hill well, but unfortunately she missed the race here earlier because she was busy competing in France at the World Junior Championships. On the day we were racing GS here, she won the second run of that giant slalom out in France. So Moritz has the speed. Third fastest at the intermediate. Moritz is in touch, but Lusak was flawless down here. Moritz skiing very well. The Ski and Snowboard Club Vail product now racing for the University of Denver, having herself a fine run as she approaches the lower hitch. Just one more little roll on the road. No problem for Moritz as the Pioneer goes into her tuck. And it's the Moritz crossing with a 1:42, moving her into third position. Sarah Rask now. Back-to-back pioneers on this NCAA Championships giant slalom course. Oh, and Rask getting inside there. A costly error on that upper pitch. Doing a great job to stay in course, but you saw that extra juice as she got into her tuck. She knows that she lost some speed to carry on to the flats. It's got to be absolutely perfect now through this section until finally she breaks over and has some gravity to work with as the hill gets steeper here, and now the steepest part of the slope. Rask a little bit behind it in there, but keeping those skis clean. Charging hard is Rask. We didn't get the intermediate up above. I was real interested to see how that mistake cost her up top. Rask giving it everything she has. This is good looking skiing down here for the DU Pioneer. But as she crosses the line in 1:97, certainly that time lost up above. Hurt, but into fourth place for Rask. Allie Resnick now on course. Allie racing for Dartmouth College. She absolutely one to watch. Resnick, a sophomore out of Vail, Colorado. She was an All-American last year and member of the Stiefel U.S. ski team. Resnick has had herself a fine year. A little bit off the pace up on that top split up there. A little over a second behind Lusak, who is absolutely on fire. Resnick looking solid down here. Good, clean skiing, but maybe not quite the same attack that we saw from Lusak earlier. Getting a little bit bumped on that fall away right footer. But Resnick, no major mistakes as she makes her way to the finish line. Allie Resnick across with a 1:01.62. That'll move Allie into seventh position.
Good job. You and Rossi.
A little bit of coursework to be done as Justine Clement surveys the scene.
The right footer before the delay?
Yeah.
See the start wand in her goggles there, the reflection down, looking over the town of Steamboat Springs.
That's our favorite.
You can go now. We're on a start stop. All right, Rossi.
Justine saying that this is her first time here in Steamboat Springs. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I know.
She's a senior at the University of Vermont, hailing from Bécancour, Canada, studying biomedical engineering.
Try to push your button before talking, because when you're coming on with your skirt straps coming on, you just barely.
So a first team All East skier this year. Looking forward to seeing what Justine can do on this course set by her coach, Bill Reichelt. We see the middle beach section. This section of the trail normally is a spot where the racers can relax a little bit flatter through there. But we've got some big terrain built up, so the skiers have to be super active through that beach section today. As we look at our team champions, it's been quite a streak for the University of Utah. As you look at the list there, the only thing that could slow them down was COVID in 2020. But an incredible streak like none we've seen since the 1970s. But before that, you see in 18 and 16, the University of Denver. Those were the last two times that we competed here in Steamboat. And the University of Denver came out on top. So it's really been the DU and the Utah show for the last many years here at the NCAA Championships. Justine Clement would like to see that change as the Catamount pushes on course. The Canadian excited to take her first run down the slopes of Steamboat Springs here at these NCAA Championships. And good-looking skiing for Clement up top. It's aggressive-looking, clean skiing up there. I like the start for the University of Vermont skier. Over the coach's knoll there at what we call pick point and onto the lower pitch now for Clement. She was a DNF last year at these NCAA Championships. She does not want to repeat that. Really working hard, skiing strong, a little bit late on the pressure perhaps in the turns. And in this Colorado snow, you pay a bigger price for that than you do when you're skiing the ice of the East. Clement making her way towards the finish now. It's a good-looking run for the Catamount as she crosses the line with a 101.91, which will put her into 8th position at the moment. From Middlebury College now, this is Mika and Riha. From Montreal, Canada, she's a junior studying economics at Middlebury College. Aggressive approach onto the flats. That's what you've got to do, Riha. Skiing well on the upper section. Now she puts a little more shape to her turns as the hill breaks over. Now the steepest point in the hill. Riha skiing well, working a little bit off the tail there. As she makes those final turns off the pitch and into the delay onto the flats, Riha, it's 9th fastest up there at the intermediate, a little over a second behind. She's charging hard down here now. Couple little final rolls, no problem for the Middlebury skier. As she's in her tuck approaching the finish, we see the sun starting to come out just a little bit more as Riha across with a 102.21 moves her into 9th position. A deep breath, and now it's time to go for the University of Colorado's Denise Dingsletter. Dingsletter, she's got the hot hand, winning up at Big Sky in the regional championship giant slalom, but she's low and late coming onto the beach section here, the upper flats. She was charging up there, but those late pressures down below the gate will be costly. Onto the lower pitch now for Dingsletter. Can she repeat the performance, the great performance from Big Sky a couple weeks ago at regional champs? Now she's onto the flat lower section. We can see shadows down there. This is great for the racers as visibility improves. The University of Colorado Buffalo now. A couple gates to go to the finish. Dingsletter into her tuck. And she reaches for the line across with a good time of 1 minute .03 into 2nd place. That attacking, aggressive approach paid off for Dingsletter despite getting late. Good result for the Colorado Buffalo. Now it's the Catamounts again from the University of Vermont and Sydney Timmerman. Timmerman coming off the top of her pitch now and onto the middle flats. Timmerman, a couple wins to her name on the EISA circuit this year, taking both a giant slalom and a slalom at Dartmouth. So we know she's got the speed. A nursing student in her sophomore year at the University of Vermont, making some beautiful turns down the lower pitch. Timmerman moving into her tuck. This is aggressive skiing for Timmerman. She's going full bore at this lower section here of the all-out race hill. As we look forward to the line, Sydney Timmerman across with a 101.92, moving Timmerman into 10th position. Up next, the senior from the University of Denver. This is Nora Brand. Munich, Germany is home for Nora, but she's made her home here in Colorado the last 4 years, having a prolific career with the University of Denver Pioneers. She was a 2023 All-American and an all-academic athlete as well, finishing second in the slalom at last year's NCAA championships. She's also been a member of the German national team. I've enjoyed watching Nora here as she's come through on the Western Circuit. Nora skiing a good run here to kick things off for her 2024 NCAA championships. Into her tuck goes Brand. Just smooth, solid skiing. It's a veteran type of skiing. You can tell she's been here before. No nerves for her here in this championship as she crosses the line. 101.53, the time moves her into 8th position. Hannah Soria now on course from Colby College. Hannah should have some good feelings on the slopes here of Steamboat Springs. She spent several years training here with the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club before moving on to Vail and then off to Colby College. So familiar with the hill is Soria. Can she use that to her advantage? Getting a little bit low over those rollers is Soria. But no major problems as she goes on to the second pitch. Good smooth turns down there. We see the course starting to get a little bit bumpy. Again, with all of the snow we've seen here in Steamboat Springs, the hill crew, the groomers work tirelessly to keep the snow firm. Oh, and Soria getting wrapped up in a gate there. Took the panel off. I thought it might have taken her glove and a ski pole as well, but it looks like she's kept everything in hand as Soria makes it across the line. Her time 102.98. Keeps her in the 14th position at the moment. She was trying to take that souvenir with her. These NCAA gate panels. So we'll take a little break as we get that gate repaired, and Evelina Fredrickson closes her eyes and skis the course in her mind one last time before her race run. It can be difficult for the racers in a delay before they're ready to go, but sometimes it's actually great to recoup thoughts and really be prepared. In a championship event like this, oftentimes that extra time can bring some extra nerves about, but Fredrickson looking like she's keeping calm and cool. She's been here before. The senior racing for Westminster College. She's been 2 times an All-American. So that veteran experience will come in handy as our course crew works to repair the gate down here. conditions are like this, that's an opportunity for the racers to really ski aggressively, really ski the line that they want. And the gates take the brunt of it. Perfect day for skiing here at Steamboat Springs. The spring break crowd's just about to take to the slopes. And it sounds like we've got a clear start for Evelina Fredrickson, Westminster College. Flapping those Swiss poles as she reaches over the wand, awaits the countdown, and on course comes Fredrickson. Good smooth skiing off the top pitch into her tuck, an aggressive approach. And the racer's getting lower and lower on that last little bump as we see them through the delay. The lower line means they're fighting gravity more. So again, they may seem small errors, but on a hill like this where the times are going to be tightly packed, every little bit counts. Overall, Fredrickson looks like she's skiing well. As I mentioned before, a senior, she's been here before. She's seen it all, and the veteran skier looking strong down on the lower section. Can Fredrickson put a fast result in there for Westminster College as she reaches to the line with a time of 1:69? She's moved into the top 5. Now it's Helene Christofferson racing for St. Michael's College. Helena Jr. studying biochemistry. Again, we see another racer getting a little bit late into that delay. Like a roller coaster there through the flats, the racer's going up and down. Really important to move with the terrain and be clean. Now onto the lower pitch. This is the technical part of the hill. This course set by Bill Reichelt from the University of Vermont. Now it starts to ease up after that delay. Christofferson, getting a little bit inside there. Costly error there on the flats for Christofferson. As the St. Michael's College reaches to the line, it's a 102.87, moving her into 15th position.
Come on, Kaya! Yeah,
Kaya Norby pushing out of the start now, the University of Utah Ute. She's one to watch, the senior studying finance out of Oslo, Norway. She's had a lot of laps down the slopes of Steamboat through her career with Utah. It's been a good one. She was the MVP for the Western region. She also has 3 junior world championship medals to her name. So Norby, always one to watch. She was pretty fast up on that top split. Just about 7/10 off the pace set by Magdalena Lusak. So Norby looking like she's going to make a move up from that 17 start position. Norby in that nice tight low tuck, crossing the line with a 101.15, moves her into 8th position. Sounds like we've got a little break in the action. A little crossing that we've got to clear down below before we see the run of Megan Olson. As Olson gets a little goggle change, we look at the results from the men's first run. Talked about how tightly packed the field is, 55 hundredths of a second separating our top 10. It's going to make for some really exciting racing here for the afternoon run. University of Utah on top for the men. Right now it's the University of Colorado on top for the women with Magdalena Lusak, our current leader down in the finish. In fact, it's 1-2 for CU, as Denise Dingsletter currently in second. Madison Hoffman currently in that third spot here in this first run for the women. As we take a look at the scene here on the all-out race slope. It's a nice day for ski racing here in Steamboat Springs. We've had about 3-4 days straight of steady snowfall. Thankful for a little break in the action for today's giant slalom. Our course workers appreciate it, the coaches appreciate it, but no more than the athletes. Now, they did have fun skiing powder earlier in the week, so we're certainly not going to complain about all the snow. And Megan Olson is on course from Bethesda, Maryland. Olson racing for Colby College. She's a senior in their Global Studies program. Good smooth skiing for Olson up top. Now onto the beach section, the middle flats, and she's done well through there. For the breakover for Olson, and she is in touch indeed up on the top, in just less than a second off the pace for Lusak. Running a little bit of a low line off that second pitch, but clean. I like how Olson there's no panic at all in her skiing. Just nice and smooth, not pressuring the ski too hard in any one spot. And that helps her keep her momentum with this soft Colorado snow. Megan Olson now into her tuck, approaching the line. The Colby College skier cross with a 101.29, moves her into 9th position, cutting that start position in half. Indeed, a great run for Olson. All right, up next, Montana State racer Justine LaMontagne. Skiing well on that upper pitch, LaMontagne. We're getting a little bit low as she approaches into that delay. Hails from Quebec, up in Canada, studying environmental engineering, the sophomore. Getting a little bit low down here, but skiing pretty cleanly. Her top split just under a second off the pace set by Lusak. As LaMontagne approaches the finish, the Montana State Bobcat will cross with her first run time of 101.58. Moves her into 12th position. Alexandra Cassette from Middlebury College on course. Alexandra, a senior studying economics. Another skier from Quebec, her hometown, home city, Montreal. Oh, and getting thrown on that upper roll there. You can see her come out a little bit low as she comes back into view through that delay. Cassette. Try not to panic, though. Got to just keep things moving down. They got to stay fluid. Getting a little bit wide there as she approaches the lower pitch. You can see the bumps rattling her just a little bit as we're into the 20s now. All that soft snow making it impossible to keep the snow super firm, although I will say it's a whole lot better today than it's been for the last 4 days. Our crew working really hard to have fair racing conditions today, and I think they've achieved that. That's the important thing. Cassette into her tuck and across with a 102.04, and that'll move Cassette into 16th position. Fired up at the start, Christiane Beckestad, as she pushes on course the Montana State Bobcat. That is an aggressive approach and attitude for Beckestad up top. You can tell she is charging. There is no holding Beckestad back. Onto the flats now. Great move over that terrain. This is a good-looking run here for the Montana State Bobcat. Another senior racing out here today, so she's got some experience. Indeed, that upper split was fast for Beckestedt, one of the fastest we've seen in some time, but still about 0.7 of a second off our current leader, Magdalena Lusak. But Beckestedt working hard to make things happen. She's got to do it from the 21st start position. She's got to do it in rougher terrain, and she's doing it well. There was no fear in that run for Beckestedt as she works her way across the line. She crosses with a 101.43 and moves into the top 10. Tilda Candell, our next competitor on course, racing for the University of New Hampshire. Candell, a sophomore studying analytical economics at the University of New Hampshire. Getting bucked a little bit by that final roll through the delay. And now past the coach's knoll. Candell hails from Leksand, Sweden. Some nice turns on that lower pitch, but we see the line progressively getting a little bit lower. She's getting pushed down, has to pressure a little bit hard at the bottom of the turn. It's good skiing from Candell, though, as she works into her tuck quickly. Final few rollers here for Candell. The University of New Hampshire looking to move up through the field with a 102.48, moves her into 20th position. Julia Toivonen from the University of Colorado, our next racer on course, into her tuck. The first couple gates, right out of the gate, it's straight down the hill, using it to generate speed. If you can do that well and lay some clean turns down through this section, then you've got the speed onto the flats that you need, but you've got to be super active. Toivonen doing well. This is an aggressive run from Toivonen. It's looking strong. The Finnish skier for the University of Colorado. But she's over a second back of her teammate who's atop the standings in the Finnish, Lusak. Just fighting it just a little bit is Toivonen perhaps. But she's definitely charging. The University of Colorado has 3 skiers across the finish in this first run. Toivonen with a 101.64, moving into 15th. Zoe Zimmerman now from Dartmouth College on course. Zoe hailing from Guilford, New Hampshire. Stiefel U.S. ski team member, going to school at Dartmouth College. So great to see these national team skiers racing collegiately as well. Love to see these American skiers, and they've got some great ones to follow in the footsteps of. The women's circuit, boy, what a joy it is to watch Paula Moltzen, Katie Henshin, among others that have competed on this NCAA circuit and are making an impact, not just skiing on, but making an impact on the World Cup circuit. Zoe Zimmerman from Dartmouth College, looking to follow in those footsteps. The sophomore approaching the finish line, and Zimmerman across with a 102.91 into 23rd position. Ansley Profit, our next racer on course. Ansley, another former U.S. ski team. She's a former U.S. ski team racer, now racing for the University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolves. We talked a little bit before about Colorado Mountain College here locally in town. Profit skied a year with the Flying Eagles. Now she's up in Alaska and relishing in this opportunity to compete in the NCAA championships. A fast upper split for Profit, one of the fastest we've seen in several racers, about 0.7 off the pace set by Lusak. This is a good run. Profit knows this hill well, and it looks like she's taking that to her advantage. Nice tight line through the delay there and quickly into her tuck. Profit charging hard down here, getting a little bit bucked on that fall away, but it's good skiing from Profit. This is what you got to do at the NCAA championships. Your time under the spotlight, you got to make something happen, and Profit reaches to the line with a 101.23, puts her up into 9th position.
Come on, girl.
Here's a great story pushing out of the start. It's Elsie Halverson from Harvard College. Elsie, her hometown, came from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. She's a member of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club for a long, long time before she headed off to school at Harvard College. And it's great to see Elsie back and competing in these NCAA championships. And the Harvard University skier now onto the lower pitch. Elsie skiing well. Smart skiing off that lower pitch. She knows how that delay works in there. Now she puts her foot on the gas.
Making strong, bib number 26.
Elsie Halverson, good clean skiing as she lays those skis over on edge. And Harvard University, be proud of this run right here. Elsie Halverson through the finish, 102.51, putting her into 23rd position. Ella Bromey from the University of Alaska Anchorage now on course. Getting pushed a little bit low up there. Of course, getting a little bit bumpier on that top pitch. Bromey keeping it, going down the hill. The sophomore up at the University of Alaska Anchorage. And like many of these Western collegiate skiers, they've gotten a lot of time in racing on this hill this year. And Bromey taking advantage of that knowledge. It's good aggressive skiing, tight on the gates down through the lower pitches, Bromey. Now onto the lower flats. It's important to be clean down here. She goes for the tuck to try to gain some aerodynamic advantage. Oh, and getting a little bit bucked on that last little roller before Shortcut Road, but kept her in the fall line. Bromey, no problems as she approaches the line. She'll cross with a 102.06 into 20th position.
Let's go. Up.
Caitlin Finn, our next racer now from Middlebury College, hails from Canmore. That's up in Alberta. The Canadian is studying psychology, a sophomore at Middlebury College. And a good-looking top section for Finn. Oh, and see her getting thrown on that second roller there on the flats. A little double pole plant to reestablish some momentum. I really liked the approach for Finn coming in, but that terrain just bucked her a little more than she expected. But you got to go all out. You got to get after it, and Finn is doing just that. About 2 seconds off at the intermediate, though, as we see that mistake cost her up top. But she's charging hard down this lower section. Caitlin Finn, Middlebury College. It's been an action-packed run for Finn, but she's racing her heart out here today as she approaches the finish across with a 104.10 into 28th. Carlotta Marcora, one to watch here, Westminster College racer. Carlotta from Milan, Italy. She's a senior at Westminster College studying economics. She was the slalom winner at the World University Games last year at Lake Placid. Marcora. She's one that could do something special from back here. And indeed, at that split time, she is one of the faster skiers we've seen in some time. Just over a half second off the pace set by our current leader in the finish, Magdalena Lusak. Marcora, a veteran. No, this moment is not too big for her as Marcora skiing well down below. Are we going to see the biggest move up through the field that we've seen yet with bib 29? It's certainly possible for Marcora. As she makes her way to the finish, she crosses with a 101.47. That moves Marcora up into 12th place. Cassie Lieblein now on course from the University of New Hampshire. Cassie racing aggressively on this upper section. See that outside ski drifting away on a few turns up there, but I see in the body language, this is full charge. Lieblein getting a little bit low off that final roller before the delay. But the University of New Hampshire skier is giving it her all here on the slopes of All Out. She saw the sign, and she said, I'm going to do just that. I'm going all out today. And Lieblein is putting down an aggressive run here. Trying to work into her tuck, try to ski aggressively. There is no fear in the skiing from Cassie Lieblein here today. As she approaches the finish, she's going to cross with a time of 104.10. Moves her up into 29th position. Now on course, it's Carmen Sophie Nielsen from the University of Alaska Anchorage. She hails from Kongsberg, Norway. She's a sophomore up at Alaska Anchorage studying finance. And putting together a nice run here on the upper section of the all-out race hill. Finds herself just about a second and a half off the pace at the intermediate time. But I like that lower pitch. No extra turn. She kept some elevation. Good clean turns. And now it's time to go. Put the foot on the gas pedal here on the lower flats. Carmen Sophie Nielsen. Nice and smooth over those final couple rollers. As the University of Alaska Anchorage Seawolf approaches the finish, she crosses with a 102.31, moving her up into 24th position. Now on course, it's Juliet Hodder, our lone racer from Bates College out of Lewiston, Maine. Juliet excited to be here. No doubt that she has been querying her teammates. There's a good contingent of Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club racers on the Bates College ski team as to how best to tackle this race hill. And Hodder skiing nicely up top. She hails from Stowe, Vermont, a freshman. What a great job by her to get herself into these NCAA championships. The level of competition here on the NCAA circuit is truly remarkable. Some of the best skiers in the world competing. Juliet doing a nice job. We've got a World Cupper in the lead, Magdalena Lusak from the University of Colorado. Hodder approaches the finish, and she crosses with a 104.57 into 32nd position.
Let's go, Mishi. Get after it, girl. Go on
Now on the start for the University of Utah, here comes Michelle Curvin. Michelle from Stockholm, Sweden. She is a senior. The Utes loaded with talent, experienced talent here at these NCAA championships, trying to add one more title to their streak of 4. Curvin getting a little bit low in there, but she's kept it clean. The veteran skier, there's no panic in her. Onto the lower pitch now for Curvin. Getting a little bit twisted there on the right footer. Coming onto the pitch, but she's cleaned it up on the turns down below and has some good speed coming across the flats. Now she puts her foot on the gas pedal. Curvin from the University of Utah. It's a solid run for the Ute as she makes her way to the line. Curvin across with a 103.36 into 30th position.
Yeah, Zoe, come on. Get
Now our final racer, this is Zoe Michael from the University of New Hampshire. This soft snow, relatively small fields here for these NCAA championships, but with all the recent snowfall we've had, certainly the course a little bit rougher by the time we get back to bib number 34. But I would say that it's held together quite well. Zoe Michael looking to make a move up this run, get a little bit better start position for that next run, take advantage of some cleaner snow, and continue her move towards the top of the field. Michael putting together a good, solid run. She's off the pitch now, about 10 gates of flats where she's got to be clean, work the ski, try to keep the momentum down to this all-out race course finish. Zoe Michael finishing things out in style here for this first run at the NCAA Giant Slalom. And she crosses with a 103.98 into 31st position. And that wraps up our first run of racing. What a great run that it was. With Magdalena Lusak and Denise Dingsletter holding the top two spots for the University of Colorado. We see two Utes in the top 10 as well. Two Pioneers, two Westminster College skiers. The Western schools doing well here in the first run of the slopes of Steamboat Springs. Megan Olson from Colby College, our top Eastern skier here, as we wrap up the first run of Giant Slalom racing. Some replays from our top skiers in the first run. Madison Hoffman, always so strong on this hill, last year's champion. She's in a good spot, sitting in third, a little bit less pressure, where she can really put down the hammer. Dingsletter in that second position. She skied really well in that first run. Impressed me, an aggressive approach, a veteran run, and well done. And then, of course, it was Magdalena Lusak absolutely throttling this hill, skiing with that spirit. And great first run here of Giant Slalom racing at Steamboat Springs. Don't go far. We'll be back for the second run, starting with the men here in just a little bit. Thanks for watching the first run of Giant Slalom here at the NCAA Championships in Steamboat Springs. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to Steamboat Springs, Colorado for the 2024 NCAA Skiing Championships. This is the men's Giant Slalom run number 2. My name's John Nolting. I'm happy that you're with us. We've got an exciting second run in store with 16 racers at the top, all within a second of our first run leader from the University of Utah, Mikkel Solbakken. Conditions on the hill are, I would describe as easy. It's Colorado perfect snow out there. We've had a bunch of snow here in Steamboat Springs. The crew's been working hard to get it as hard as possible, but it's hero snow out there. Our early runners are going to enjoy a really smooth track. We will see some breakdown towards the end, and that's going to make it really exciting as we run our second run today in reverse order, with Mikkel Solbakken having the honor to run last with that lead. It's going to be really interesting mixing things up there as our forerunners get ready to go. We've got a little crossing down at the bottom of the course, so we were expecting we were going to be running here, but it'll be just a couple minutes, I think, before our forerunners take to the course. During the break in between runs, we had a couple small little snow squalls move through. But now the sun is back out. Mother Nature helping us out, and the snow is softening here with the sun, but the visibility will be great for the skiers. This hill sits in the afternoon sun. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal for the racers as our first forerunner kicks out of the gate. Just a little shout out, that's Chase Seymour. His twin brother Trey is racing in today's event, finished 17th after the first run. So Chase, one of the 4 forerunners that are going to check out the course today. Chase, a racer with the University of Colorado, so tough just to make the championship team for these programs like the University of Colorado, University of Vermont, Utah, the big schools that that are so stacked with skiers. So Chase getting a 4-run here on his home slope. Checking out the course. This is good. That's an interesting spot right there on the course. It was interesting to see our first racer coming down. This second run course set by Dartmouth College coach J.P. Dagnon. And it's a really, really simple, basic course, I would say, up top. And then the lower half gets real interesting. So we're going to watch this carefully as the race moves on here for this afternoon. It's going to make things particularly interesting because of the strategy involved in the second run. With the first run so tightly packed, it's almost like the football game where you're tied at halftime. It all comes down to the second half. And for this, everything's going to come down to this second run. And this course requires some strategy. Pretty basic on the upper part, pretty basic down the pitch. The men running on the same side the women ran earlier. And now a really strange tight turn right in there that will be interesting for the racers. And then when they're used to just settling in towards the finish, now it gets a little bit tight and turny right before the road there. And as we see our skiers that are going for it all, as opposed to these 4-runners that are set out to put it down a clean run, I think it might get a little bit tricky, and especially as the snow gets chewed up later on and the line gets pushed lower, it's going to be real interesting to see how things come out. So the early runners will have an advantage here, and so it makes me wonder, is somebody going to pop in there from, say, the 10th place position, only a half second back, so in touch of the lead, but a little better course, and without the pressure? Our leaders in the start feeling that pressure. The other team feeling some pressure out there is the University of Colorado on the men's side. Unfortunately, a DNF from their crew with Ryder Sarchette in that first run means that for the two racers left, Philip Valquist and Etienne Mazilier, really important to put down good, solid finishes. The rest of the team's looking in good shape in terms of getting their skiers across the finish for that first run. So for the team standings, that's going to be something to watch as well. As our final 4-runner pushes out of the gate, as soon as he's through and clear, again, these 4-runners help get our timing crew all set up, our race crew on the hill all set up and organized, and of course our video crew that's doing a fine job out here at NCAA.com. We're happy that you are watching with us, enjoying this incredible racing at the NCAA Skiing Championships. This is day 1 of the event. We've got 4 days ahead. We'll be to the Nordic side tomorrow with the interval start freestyle race. Night slalom on Friday night. That's going to be a fantastic show at Howelson Hill. And then Saturday, we wrap things up with the mass start classic race. Always anything can happen in the mass start. It's going to be a fun time. Our final 4-runner is through. We've got a good course report from our 4-runners. So we're going to get ready. Sounds like one panel to put back on the gates is Ivor Cornelius Walde Nays from the University of Nevada, Reno. Rolls up to the start. He's going to kick things off. Again, the early starters, especially on a course set like this, I think have a massive advantage. But for Nays, the deficit from our leader is about 3 seconds. So realistically, for him to take the race win from this spot, I don't think that's really realistic. But as we see him charging on the upper section of the course, there is the chance for him to lay down the fastest time of the second run that could stand through the entire race. So a lot on the line for Nace. And he's got the green light to go full gas, the only skier competing from the University of Nevada, Reno here in these NCAA championships. So he can really ski aggressively. Now, this is the tactical part right here. There's no delay. We saw in the women's set when it went through that side, there was a delay there, gave the athletes a bit more room to try to make that turn. This time it's kind of a sharp elbow turn, a little bit tougher set, I would say, but it looks like it's still running easy with the clean course right now, perfect visibility, track's in good shape, and Mays crosses, and he's going to set the pace with that second run time of 52.94. And now from Boston College, here comes Bodie Flanagan. Bodie, the lone Boston College racer in the Alpine events here at these NCAA championships. He's the hometown kid, grew up here in Steamboat Springs, longtime Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club racer. Really came onto the scene as he started FIS racing, got the eyes of the national team coaches, skied with the national development group for the U.S. for a few seasons. And now great to see him competing for Boston College. He's had a great season on the EISA circuit this year. And Bodie, that's the turn right there. He went too direct into that, and that cost him. It requires a change in tactics as you come into that elbow turn. He's not going to be the only one that gets caught up on that turn as he drops into his tuck and approaches the finish. But that was a tough mistake for the Boston College racer as he crosses into second position. At the moment now, up next, it's Jan Rohner, the Austrian racing for the University of Alaska Anchorage. And he is on course. It was a good-looking run for me from Nays, so it's going to be interesting to see how the time stands up as our racers tackle the slope. This men's course set on the far right side of the hill. It kind of avoids all of the rollers on the flats that were giving the men problems on the first run. And pretty basic set as they come onto this lower pitch. They've got a lot of speed. These turns have a bit more swing, and you see Rohner getting pushed low and late. That's going to happen too. And then this sharp turn right here, and Rohner just sneaking by that next blue gate. But that kills your speed for the flats. How are the racers going to manage that tricky section right in there? Rohner's done pretty well, but I don't know that he quite matched the tactical prowess of Nays ahead of him. He crosses the line, 54.30. Will move him into second position overall right now. Up next out of the start, this is going to be an exciting run to watch. From Dartmouth College, it's Daniel Gillis. Gillis racing on the course set by his coach. He should have the intel and know exactly what he needs to do to be fast on this run. Gillis with a few mistakes in that first run that hurt him. So he's going to be looking to make a move up on the second run. Can he ski it clean? Can he ski it smart all the way down? And take advantage of this early start position. You see the slush getting thrown in the air. The snow is kind of, it's kind of sticky like glue. It's not quite slush yet, but it's not good firm racing snow that these athletes would prefer to race on. But it's what we have with all the champagne powder falling here at Steamboat Resort. And Gillis has done well. I think this is going to be a good run. Gillis getting a little bit low off that final road, but he's really attacked. And as Gillis approaches the finish, he's going to cross and move into the first position. Second fastest on that second run. But first on the overall for Gillis. Now from the University of New Hampshire, Hayden Dahl on course. Hayden moving up a few spots. He rounded out the field in that first run. Nice smooth skiing up there as he drops out of view. Nice light touch, and that's going to be helpful. This snow is just so over responsive. It's kind of peely, but it's just a tricky snow surface. And so I think we're going to see a mixture of approaches and runs. I think the tightly packed race that we had in the first run could get blown up a little bit on the second run as the racers deal with different conditions and a different set. Hayden Dahl looking solid down here. The University of New Hampshire racer looking to unseat Dartmouth's Daniel Gillis, who has the lead at the moment at the finish, and through into third is Dahl. Back to the top now, Loic should lead from Westminster College. Loic, a Swiss racer. Aggressive approach up top. Got to carry that momentum across the flats. One thing that the course setter did for this run, by avoiding those rollers on the flats, he brought the course very far across, so it's extremely flat in there, and so speed coming onto the flats is at a premium. Loic skiing a very aggressive line, more direct than any of the skiers that we've seen, but he made a great adjustment there at the elbow. This is how you do it, ladies and gentlemen. Loic Chablis approaching the finish now. Couple bigger turns right in there, but that's no problem. I thought that section might catch a few racers off guard, but they seem to be having no problems through there as he reaches across the line. Third fastest on that run, but into the lead for the Westminster College racer. And we've got ourselves a ski race, ladies and gentlemen, as Charlie Lang from Middlebury College eyes the course. Just 2 men from Middlebury qualified for these NCAA championships. So really, for them to have a chance in the team standings, so important to put down a fast run, a little extra pressure for Lang. So we finish up a little gate repair down below. Gives Lang a little bit of time to contemplate his run here. Look into the sunshine, look out over the beautiful town of Steamboat Springs. The slalom slope at Howelson Hill just in view, straight out the start gate. So the Middlebury racer from Norwich, Vermont waits while our course crew repairs the gates. Lang's been here before. He's a senior studying political science, but this is the first time that he's made the NCAA championships, and he's thrilled to be here. Lang lists Ora, Sweden is the favorite place that he's ever been to. Hopefully after this weekend, maybe Steamboat Springs makes that list. So a good start to this second run. All of our racers through the finish. There are a few tricky spots on the hill, and as it starts to break down the snow, as we go toward our faster racers from that first run, I think we're in store for some interesting racing. I think there's going to be some movement on the leaderboard. All right, we've gotten word that we've got a green light. Lang buckling up his boots and getting ready to go. This will be Middlebury's first take on the second run here for the giant slalom. Charlie Lang looking to put down a good solid run, get some momentum for his Middlebury team as he pushes on course. Clean turns important up here on the top. It's not all that turny. And the snow, again, is so easy right now. It's just Colorado packed powder perfect. So they've got to be subtle on their edges and not overdo it. Lang looking good up on the upper part of the course as he passes Coach's Knoll now onto the lower section. Those couple big swingy turns now go straight again into that elbow turn right in here. Lang doing a nice job, just nice and smooth, subtle again on his edges. Looking to be aerodynamic where he can. Now it tightens up just a bit, but no problem for Lang. That section not causing the racers any problems. As you see him skating in his tuck, that's an indication that the snow is a little bit sticky out there in the Colorado sun. But Lang moves into the lead by just 0.04 of a second. They're finding themselves tightly packed down there. All right, now on course, we've got Max Hausman from Plymouth State. Charging down the upper pitch. Trying to get on and off the edges quickly as Hausman. not spend too much time digging those skis into the snow. And it looks like the word got up to the start about that turn there at the elbow. Houseman managing it well. We've seen the last few racers do a much better job in there. If the racers stay in the track, the snow is quite good. If they get outside the track, it's going to get a little bit more tricky as Houseman crosses into the lead. Max Martin now on course from Dartmouth College. Max hails from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. A senior at Dartmouth College studying economics. He's an academic All-Ivy team member. And that is an accomplishment, ladies and gentlemen, to ski yourself into these NCAA championships and manage the difficult and rigorous Dartmouth College classes. You are doing a fantastic job. Max Martin into his tuck in there. Getting a little bit low. They're in that tough elbow turn, but he's back. To me, he's lost a bit of momentum. I like the aggressive approach, but maybe a little bit too direct in that one spot. Getting low off the road. This could be an indication that he's carrying good speed. We'll see as he comes to the line and crosses. And it is going to drop Max back a few spots into fourth position. As we go back to the top now, and we look for the run of Rafael Lessard from the University of Utah. Lessard, our first Ute on the course here in the second run. And he's going to be hammering. So important for these racers to ski a clean run. And with the field so tightly packed, a mistake can cost many places. And when we look at the team standings for this event, it's not so how far out you are that's critical. It's how many places you move up and how close you can be place position, because that's going to count towards your team standings. So many of these racers focused on fifth points, but today it's all about placement. Placement is king, and Lessard's had a clean run as the Ute crosses the finish, and Lessard moves into first place, setting the pace by 1/100th of a second over Houseman. Oh boy. I think somebody's going to pop a fast run in here at some point and blow this open a little bit, but right now we're tightly packed as Hunter Brayton from the University of New Hampshire takes to the course. Is it going to be Brayton? University of New Hampshire. Great to see their full squad of men here at these championships. Brayton is running aggressively, getting a little bit low, a little bit of pressure late, but I think he's taken a fast approach. He does pretty well through that dog leg. This looks pretty good for the University of New Hampshire skier. Charging down here on the lower section. You see that camera angle flying past the crowd that's gathered there at Shortcut Road. Hunter Brayton moving to the finish. And we've got a new leader, and he's done it by a second. Hunter Brayton throwing down the gauntlet for the skiers up in the start. And now it's Isaac Starset, the Bobcat from Montana State, taking his turn. Brayton has just opened the race up down at the finish. Can Starset match his speed? It's smooth up here on top. Brayton was really charging. Starset looking good as he passes over the coach's knoll. A little bit low coming onto this pitch here, and the snow will give away if the skier's on too low of a line. Starset very athletic through that section, though. Manages it well, the Norwegian. Fighting, strong skiing down here for the Montana State Bobcat. As he passes Shortcut Road, Starset willing his way to the finish. Starset crossing. That'll move him into second position, a little over a half second out. Next up from Westminster College, it's Jeremy Lagier. Lagier 5 years on the French national team. He was the vice world champion at the World University Games. Lagier knows this hill well. I think he has good feelings in Steamboat. And this is an aggressive approach from Lagier, running really direct and doing a good job. I was a little bit worried if that line got a little bit low and he got off the track, those skis would just sink in this soft snow. But Lagier staying in the track and running a direct approach. Could he unseat Brayton at the top of the standings right now? Lagier making his way to the finish. And into second position goes Jeremy Lagier, 47 hundredths of a second back. Now it's St. Michael's College. Gray Flanagan on course. Gray caught my eye last week at the NORAM races in Mont Marie with his aggressive skiing, and here he goes again. Looked like maybe a little bit of a bobble right before he hit the flats. The speed across the flats, it's hard to tell, but maybe a little bit behind. But that's nice right in there. Really good line. Oh, it comes in a little direct on that, but holds it together well. Flanagan skiing a good run down here. That's nice through the elbow. The St. Michael's College skier having a little trouble there on that red gate, but keeping the momentum moving down the hill. Hunter Brayton has the lead in the finish. Gray Flanagan, will he have enough to overtake him as he crosses the line into second position? So Brayton holding on to the lead as Trey Seymour takes to the hill. The University of Denver Pioneer has had himself one heck of a season this year in his senior year. The local Steamboat kid, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club alum, his older brother Jet, representing the Stiefel U.S. ski team on the World Cup. His twin brother Chase racing for the University of Colorado. But right now it's Trey time on the slopes of All Out. And it's a good looking run so far for Seymour, getting a little bit low through that section, but nice light touch. He knew he couldn't overpressure the ski. Otherwise he'd bog down here on the flats. Seymour trying to be smooth, trying to be fast, trying to carry the momentum to the finish line. Can Seymour move into that top spot? No, he crosses into fifth position. So Hunter Brayton continuing to hold on to the lead. He's held it for 5 racers strong. As Thomas Hoffman from the University of Denver prepares for his run. A little course repair down below. And now it's time for the Australian to put it to this course.
Let's go, Tom.
Tommy, lucky guy's got to compete in the 2020 Youth Olympic Games. He's a member of the Australian national team. And he's on course. This is going to be one to watch. I think he knows that he's got the speed to make a move from the back. He's less than a second out from our first run leader. We're into the position now where somebody could put down a fast run and stay in that top spot for a long, long time. Will it be the Pioneer? Hoffman getting a little bit low on that lower pitch. And important to be clean there, and he's pretty low on the line. He held it together nicely, but that definitely cost him a bit of time when you see him out in that soft snow down below. I know it's soft down there. It's a good-looking run from Hoffman, but I think just a couple mistakes are going to cost him as he crosses the line into fifth position. So Hunter Brayton continuing in that top spot. And now it's Kyle Alexander's turn, the University of Vermont Catamount. When you see that low number on the chest, you know that you're dealing with a fast racer here. Alexander fourth in the regionals giant slalom. Member of the Canadian national team. And Alexander's a veteran. The pressure of this moment should not be too big for Kyle Alexander. Can he put down a fast run for the University of Vermont here? Again, the door is wide open for somebody to make a move from here, and Kyle having to make a move just to stay on course. A good recovery. Didn't look like it cost him much, but that section's so flat in there. Any mistake will just be magnified. Alexander, though, strong on the flats. He's a glider. He's got skill in that department, and into second he goes. So Hunter Brayton continuing to hold on to that top spot as Gianluca Boom makes his way onto the course. Montana State Bobcat. Boom is a guy that's capable of making a move from here. Just 7/10 out from the first run. Boom could be the one that makes the big move up through the field. Oh, but getting bucked a little bit low in there. He was trying to run an aggressive line. He was trying to get on and off the edges quickly, but it just caught up to him a bit. But a nice job through the elbow there. I'm never going to count Boom out as long as he's on the course, and it looks like good skiing down here at the bottom. He's really charging as the Montana State Bobcat reaches to the line, and we've got a new leader. Gianluca Boom, by almost a half second, takes over the top spot and throws it back up to the start and says, beat this. And Nolan Sweeney from Colby College says, I'm going to try. Here he comes from Colby. Sweeney in his tuck on that upper pitch. A good aggressive approach. Direct right into the flats. Sweeney really throwing it down. It's going to take gutsy skiing today to ski to the top. There is no easing in to any of the top spots in this field today. You've got to go earn it. And Sweeney skiing a nice run down here. We see the clouds have kind of rolled in, and the visibility not as good as for the earlier racers. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We've had some little showers move through here this afternoon. And so I think these later runners are going to have to deal with a bumpier course and flat light. That's going to be interesting to see how it plays out as Sweeney crosses into fourth. Again, could we have somebody hold on to the lead for some time? Boom would like that to be the case, but Philip Wahlquist from the University of Colorado could have something to say about it. Wahlquist has really had a strong season for the Buffaloes. From Oslo, Norway. A great freshman pickup by the Buffs. He doesn't ski like a freshman. He hasn't all year. He's skied like a veteran. And it's smooth. It's good-looking skiing down here. So hard to tell on this hill sometimes. That subtle edge pressure is important. Sometimes you see the racers that their body language shows charge, but they're digging their edges in too far. I don't see that from Wahlquist. I see a good run here as Wahlquist approaches the line and into second position. Just under 2 seconds back for Wahlquist. As we have a last-minute start-stop, a little smile there. I like to see the smile. A relaxed move for Bradshaw Underhill. Middlebury College racer getting ready to go. Underhill was second in the Eastern Regional Championships. So he's got some GS chops here, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a run to watch. No better time than the present to lay down the best run of your life, and Bradshaw Underhill is on course. Aggressive skating to get himself into the course. And it's full attack for Underhill. You see him working the tail of the ski. Oh no! Just as he goes out of view, it looked like a problem, and he is... Something happened in there. Tough break just as he dropped behind those rollers. You could see him working the last about fifth of his ski. Those 190 centimeter skis that he's on, he was using about the last 20 centimeters just before he went out of view. And a tough break for the Middlebury skier. Good that he's still in the course, though. Important for points for his team. Talked about the Middlebury does not have a full squad coming to these championships, so results are so important, and a finish pretty much takes you out of the mix. So Underhill, see a half-hearted tuck into the finish. He knows that mistake was so costly up there as he skis into 20th position at the moment. A little twisted out of the start, but here comes Declan McCormick from the University of Vermont. McCormick is a guy that you are not going to count out at this point. Sitting in a perfect position, I think, to attack from the back. So tightly packed, but he doesn't carry the pressure of our top leaders. It was McCormick winning the Eastern Regional Championship Giant Slalom. And the University of Vermont needs a fast finish here. They'd like to bring the trophy back east of the Mississippi, but McCormick getting bounced a little bit low. And again, a little bit low for McCormick. As we see him approach now the final section, the shortcut road there, no problems. But for me, a few mistakes adding up for McCormick as he approaches the line, and McCormick reaches across, moving into third position. Just 24 hundredths of a second back of our leader right now, Gianluca Boom. And now we're down to the top 10. Just a half second separating our top 10 from that first run. Anything can happen here. Oscar Zimmer surveys the course. So we do a little course repair down below. Zimmer in a good spot here. We actually saw, I remember when Zimmer was out for the Holiday Classic back in December, he found himself a little bit back after the first run and made a huge move up onto the podium in the second run. So he's not a stranger on this hill to making big second run moves. Boy, it was fantastic when it happened then, but what a day to do it if he happened today at these NCAA championships. You see the lights on here on the all-out race slope, part of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club Stevens Family Alpine venue at Steamboat Resort. Trying to get as much light on the hill as possible to help the athletes deal with the flat light out here. The clouds have rolled back in. It's a spring-like pattern with some afternoon showers in the area. We're hoping that we get our race done before any substantial cells move through. Mother Nature smiled on us this morning, and it smiled on our early runners as well. Our first half of the field here in the second run got to run in the sunshine, but now the lights have gone out a little bit. But Oscar Zimmer is ready for the challenge. And the Dartmouth College skier pushes out of the start. Here we go. Is it going to be Zimmer that puts down that fast run and can hold on to the lead for some time? Zimmer nice and smooth on the upper section. The sophomore studying economics hails from Oslo, Norway. I like Zimmer's skiing smile. It's style. It's nice and smooth. It makes me smile as he gets bumped a little bit low there, but doing a nice job is Zimmer. Pushed low through that turn, but again, no panic in Zimmer's skiing. He's trying to keep the momentum, keep everything moving down the hill towards the finish line. Zimmer nice and clean on the lower section as he approaches the line. Are we going to have a new leader? Into third goes Zimmer. Just 0.2 of a second out. All right, now pushing out of the start from the University of New Hampshire. All the way from Åre, Sweden is Isaac Hedström. Hedström could be the one to do it. Just a week ago, I watched Hedström take the NORAM Giant Slalom victory in Mont Saint-Marie, and it was just perfect skiing. So smooth, so strong. and Hedstrom looking good here. Very direct in there as you see the Stivet. A little different approach tactically in there. Oh, I thought he was going to go down on the inside there, doing a nice job to stay on his feet. Hedstrom trying to keep a nice light touch on this Colorado snow. Can the University of New Hampshire skier take over the lead from Gianluca Boom as he reaches to the line? And he's going to cross. We've got a new leader. Isaac Hedstrom has brought the top spot back east to the University of New Hampshire for the moment. As we see our next racer from St. Michael's College. On course, or sorry, University of Vermont. This is Magnus Berge Styron. We're down to our top 8 from that first run. So it's Hedstrom with the lead by about 19 hundredths of a second is Styron moving into his tuck there. That's a gutsy move, doing a nice job through the elbow. Styron not giving this course any respect whatsoever. Styron charging to the line. And for the University of Vermont, he'll cross into second position, just 8 hundredths of a second back. Sindra Michael Bus now on course, the University of Utah. The distinctive red suits of the Utah Utes. Michael Bust knows he's got to put down a strong run here. The opportunity is there for Michael Bust. His teammate, Mikkel Solbakken, had the lead after the first run. Can he stack a couple University of Utah Utes into those top spots? Very direct there for Michael Bust as we see a little redirection of the line for him. Through that elbow, no problem. Michael Bust charging hard across the slower section. A few spots where he's gone a little bit low and late with his pressure. But no substantial mistakes as Michael Bust approaches the finish line, and he's going to cross into the lead. Michael Bust, by 39 hundredths of a second, has moved into that top spot with 6 racers to go. It's a good spot to be for the Ute. As Simon Strand now gets ready from St. Michael's College. Strand just 32 hundredths of a second off our first run leader. And he's now on course. The opportunity is there. You can tell Strand's got the green light really attacking up there, nice and smooth across the flats. It's been good watching these races, hardly everybody finding the finish line. Good, fair course sets, meaning that everybody's got a chance. It's the skier who's got the courage. It's the skier that's got the skill that's going to be our NCAA Giant Slalom champion. Strand would love to carry that title as he gets a little bit low down here on the flats, but managing it pretty well as he approaches the line. Simon Strand from St. Michael's College across, and into fourth goes Strand. Now up in the start, Harrison DeGangi from Colby College. What an opportunity for Harrison, the freshman, to burst onto the NCAA scene. DeGangi having himself a day. Look good on that top pitch. Oh. No, right in the middle of the flats. Must have just had a lean in or a bobble there, and all the momentum is gone. And DeGangi getting bounced low. It was such a good start for DeGangi. It looked so loose and relaxed up top, but ski racing is tough. You lose your focus for a second, or you hit something just a little bit funny, and the balance is gone. So for Deganji, it's going to be a finish, but unfortunately with the mistake, not what he wanted, not what he was capable of. But that's ski racing, ladies and gentlemen. And when you put the pressure on of the NCAA championships, even the best skiers, even the most veteran, can falter, can suffer the mistake. But a true champion is going to emerge today. Right now, it's Sindre Michaelbust in the lead from the University of Utah at the finish. Could he hold on to that lead? He was less than 0.4 of a second behind our first run leader. So it's possible that that run could hold up all the way to the finish. But we've got 4 racers to go. We've got a chance at taking over that top spot as we do some gate repair. Kicking things off with Christian Oliveira Sovic will be next out of the start. And then we're down to our top 3, Leon Nikic, Etienne Mazilier, and Mikkel Solbakken. The last 4 men standing with a chance at today's NCAA Giant Slalom title. It's been a good one out here today. It's everything you can ask for. These teams, again, looking for a solid finish today to kick things off for the Giant Slalom. As we start to think about the team standings now with some racers in the finish. 3 solid finishers can get your week started the right way and really give you momentum to carry through to that next event. So we've got 4 racers left here in the men's race. The women will follow. As we look at the top 10 from the women's first run. And we noted at the end of the race how the Western schools really dominated on the women's side with 9 of the top 10 representing Western schools. University of Colorado, the University of Utah, and University of Denver all with 2 skiers in the top 10. So looking strong for those programs. A little bit more separation there as well with Lusak having a significant lead over second place in the women's side. Here on the men's, it's a different story as the racers were so tightly packed after that first run. Oliveira Sovic, who's getting ready to go, was only 0.16 of a second back of our leader from the first run, Solbakken. But his job right now is to take the top spot from Sindre Michaelbust from the University of Utah. And that's not going to be easy. Michaelbust put down a rock-solid run, and Christian Oliveira Sovic now on course. The Norwegian racing for the University of Denver. He's a freshman. What an opportunity here for Oliveira Sovic. Little extra turn shape for Sovic down through this section on the lower pitch. I think the strategy there, make sure he doesn't make any mistakes so he can carry speed into this section. I think he skied through that elbow really nicely, but it looked like he set it up a little bit more than the other racers up above. Is that the tactic that's going to make the difference? Or was that over skiing it just a touch? Let's see as Sovic makes his way to the finish line and reaches across. Sovic across and moves into second position by just over 0.3 of a second. And now there were 3. Leon Nikic from the University of Alaska Anchorage. 3rd fastest in the first run. Nikic wore the yellow leaders bib here in RMISA for some time. So he's a guy that's had success in the Giant Slalom this season. And he's going for broke on this run. Just 0.8 of a second back of our first run leader was Nikic. Little deft touch, I would say, through that tricky section on the lower pitch. Nicely through the elbow, but is the momentum there? His upright stance is making me wonder, does he have the speed down here that Michael Bust had, our leader in the finish from the University of Utah? Nikic making his way towards the finish line. Is it going to be enough? No. Into 8th position for the Seawolf. And now there are 2 left standing. The University of Utah skier Michael Bust guaranteed a top 3. But right now, Etienne Mazilier, the freshman Canadian from the University of Colorado. Will this be his day? Just 1/100th of a second behind our first run leaders, Mazilier. Already thrust into the spotlight for the mighty University of Colorado program, the freshman, carrying the load of the host university for these NCAA championships. And this is nice skiing down here for Mazilier. Getting a little bit back right before the flats, but he's righted the ship. That's a well-done turn through the elbow there. Mazilier into his tuck. Can he keep it clean down here? Can he move over this terrain and generate what speed is left in the course? Mazilier driving towards the line. As he reaches across, it's not enough for Mazilier, dropping all the way back into 11th position.
Come on, Mikkel.
The University of Utah is guaranteed the win. Is it going to be Solbakken or Michael Bust? Here comes our first run leader, Mikkel Solbakken. Solbakken so strong on this hill. He was dominant here at the Spencer James Nelson Memorial CU Invitational earlier this season. As you see the weather moving in, light snow starting to fall. Conditions are difficult and the pressure high for Solbakken. His teammate in the finish has the lead, Sindre Michael Bust. This is a good looking run from Solbakken. That was excellent skiing there on the lower pitch. Good job through that elbow section. This looks strong. Solbakken looks like he knows what he's doing on this all-out race trail. The University of Utah's in great position. It's just a matter of who's going to be on top. Solbakken approaching the finish, and Solbakken will cross, and into first place, Mikkel Solbakken. The University of Utah's gone 1-2 with Solbakken and Michael Bust at the top of the standings. The University of Denver, Christian Olivera-Sovic unofficially into that 3rd spot. What a second run, thrilling to the finish. Just 8/700ths of a second, the difference between first and second in today's men's giant slalom. Congratulations to Mikkel Solbakken from the University of Utah. You are our 2024 NCAA Giant Slalom Champion. As we review our top 10, what a great race it was. Oscar Zimmer in that 10th position. Leon Nikic dropping back into 9th. Philip Wahlquist got a top 10 for CU in 8th. Gianluca Boom making that strong move in the second run into 7th. Simon Strand in 6th. Magnus Styron for the University of Vermont in 5th. Isaac Hedstrom just off the top 3 with a 4th place finish. And Christian Olivera-Sovic from DU in 3rd. And the 2 Utes on top, Michael Bust in 2nd, and Mikkel Solbakken with the win in the second run. So that's going to wrap up here our men's first run as we look at the highlights here for the race. Sovic doing a nice job. Such a nice smooth run to finish 3rd there. Just really fluid skiing for the DU Pioneer to get into 3rd spot. And then it was Michael Bust. I was wondering whether the run would hold up through the entire field. Such a good run, sneaky fast up there. It was just strong skiing, aggressive, and taking chances there. And then to the finish with 1 man left, Michael Bust. It was Solbakken. Maybe the pressure was off a little bit because his teammate had the lead at the bottom. But either way, Solbakken dealing with the pressure of being the leader after the first run brilliantly, skiing a fantastic second run, and managing to take home the victory. What a day for Solbakken. What a day for the University of Utah here in this men's giant slalom. So with the men's race wrapped up, it's Going to be time for the women next, kicking off here at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, just a few minutes away. So don't go anywhere. We will see you soon for the women's second run. Welcome back to Steamboat Springs for the second run of women's giant slalom here at the NCAA Skiing Championships. The weather continues to change. It's springtime in the Rockies as the snow is now falling. A few little showers coming through, some squalls, some fluffy flakes falling from the sky. You know, just to add a little bit of challenge here for the already challenging NCAA Giant Slalom Championships. The women had a great first run. And the men had a really exciting second that we just saw finish up before the snow flew. Congratulations to the University of Utah and Mikkel Solbakken taking that top spot. Utah going 1-2. After the first run for the women, it was the University of Colorado 1-2 with Magdalena Lusak, our first run leader. She had a healthy margin of 61 hundredths of a second over her teammate Denise Dingsletter in second. So CU 1-2 with Utah in third after the first run here on the women's race. As our forerunners prepare to get ready here for this women's second run. We switched sides of the hill, so the women ran on the skiers' right for the first run. This time they'll run on the skiers' left. More terrain on the flats for the women here on the second run to deal with. So that'll be a different factor. But they don't have to deal with that dogleg turn at the bottom of the second pitch. A little more straightforward down there. Second run course set by University of Utah coach Mary Joyce. Looks like it's got a good rhythm. I'll be interested to see how this terrain runs here on the flats with our forerunners. Get a chance to look at that. Some big old whoop-de-doos there. Just to keep the racers on their toes, this first forerunner, Chase Seymour. His brother Trey got a finish for the University of Denver in the men's race. So again, these forerunners giving us a chance to get a look at the course, make sure that snow conditions are in good shape, make sure that the course workers and the coaches are all in position and ready and aware for the racers, that timing is working, that our video crew is all ready to go, and they've had to deal with every element today. So happy that you're with us here at NCAA.com to take in all the racing action here at Steamboat Ski Resort. We're racing on the all-out race trail, part of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, Stevens Family Alpine Venue. Second forerunner here on course. That terrain's going to be exciting there across the flats. This now the lower pitch of the all-out race hill. Nice rhythmic swingy turns here set by Mary Joyce from the University of Utah. Then a little delay as the hill starts to flatten out. Some quick tempo turns there. Racers can keep it in the fall line. And then over final little road here. Looks like not giving our forerunners a whole bunch of trouble as they make their way to the finish. So setting the stage for a great second run. Two more forerunners here. We'll check it out as it seems like the snow is trying to wane. I can see the sun down in town. It's springtime in the Rockies, without a doubt. But the weather conditions will be something to watch. So much at stake here in these NCAA championships. You just hope that conditions stay fair. That's the important thing. But they may and they will be variable. And it's just something that the racers have to deal with, in addition to the pressures of competing here at this high-stakes championship. Racers getting lined up at the start as our third forerunner makes her way down to the finish.
All up. Come on. Yeah, go up. Let's go.
Cole Roundtree Williams will be our final forerunner. Former U.S. ski team member, now skiing for Colorado Mountain College. Local school here in Steamboat Springs. Not eligible to compete in these NCAA championships. But Roundtree Williams, a strong racer. Enjoying running the courses early. It's not a bad gig to forerun. You get to run a nice clean track. This snow conditions, I've talked about it before. Over 30 inches of snow here at Steamboat Resort over the last 72 hours, making for softer conditions than ideal, but it's holding up well. Advantage to the early runners here in this second run. But with the slip crews that we've had out there, the hard work grooming by the Steamboat Resort staff, we've got a good, fair surface. But definitely not the ice that we saw at the Aspen World Cups just last weekend for those ski racing fans that were out there. And we're ready to go, though, for our first racer with a smile on her face from Bates College. It's Juliet Hauter. Juliet on course, kicking things off. She's going to set the pace as we run our second run in reverse order from their finished position in the first. So Hauter's got work to do and already getting pushed a little bit low on the turns on the upper pitch. Now onto the flat she goes, having to navigate the rolls there through that section that we call the beach. Definitely when the sun was out earlier today, it was feeling like a beach there in that zone. Now with the clouds overhead, the visibility a little bit different. Not so clean for the visibility, but a good clean course for Hauter, and she's enjoying running this early track. The Bates College skier now. Quick little turns coming off the pitch there as she approaches 10 gates before the finish. Into her tuck she goes, making her way over the final rollers. Juliet Hauter from Bates College. She's going to put it down. She's going to finish her NCAA championship run here and sets the pace with a time of 2:02:36. And now from Middlebury College, our next racer, Caitlin Finn, on course. Finn really attacking in that first run, had a few mistakes. This run, nice move over that terrain, really nice on that blue to red. Navigating the terrain will be helpful for these competitors here in this second run. That section is rolly but flat, so keeping the skis on the ground and moving well over the terrain important. Finn now onto the lower pitch. These nice technical turns set by Mary Joyce and a little release valve in that delay to take the speed onto the flats down here. Finn moving in and out of her tuck. Good aggressive run again for Finn, and this run to me looking cleaner than the first as Caitlin Finn from Middlebury College crosses the line and she moves into the top spot. A good strong run for the Middlebury racer. And now from the University of New Hampshire, Cassie Lieblein. Cassie, energetic turns on that top pitch. She comes down to the flats, getting thrown a little bit wide there on that first roller. The second roller, she does fine. One more roller, the third, and now she's onto the lower pitch. Huey, Dewey, and Louie, let's call them, as Cassie Lieblein makes her way onto the lower pitch. Second fastest at the intermediate. Looks like we've got that up and running. That's at the end of the flat section as they pass the coaches. Lieblein now onto the lower pitch. Moving into her tuck. This is an aggressive run. Lieblein looking to pick up a few spots for the University of New Hampshire. Points at a premium. Can New Hampshire make a big move today in the giant slalom to kick things off the right way? Lieblein moving into second.
Come on, Zoe, get it!
And now it's another New Hampshire racer, Zoe Michael. Getting some good elevation above the gate on this upper pitch is Michael. Then she lets it run onto the flats, getting a little bit thrown on the Pewee. Just fine over Dewey. And Louie throws her again. That's a fun little section in there. Keeps things interesting across the flat. Zoe Michael now onto the lower pitch. She was second fastest at our intermediate. Some good energetic turns there coming off the lower pitch. Now she can start to let the skis run. Important to take speed off that pitch into this lower section. It's not completely flat, but it's definitely more gradual terrain, so a mistake there is magnified. Zoe Michael skiing it well. And across the line, she reaches into second position, goes Zoe Michael.
Come on, Michi.
Now we get a look at our first University of Utah racer here for the second run. It's Michelle Curvin. Curvin, the senior from Stockholm, Sweden, racing for the University of Utah. Slalom, a stronger discipline for Curvin, I believe, but an accomplished GS skier as well, looking to score some points for the Utes. Getting a little bucked on that last roller, but if you're going to get bucked on a roller, make it that last one, because now you're onto the lower pitch and you can get that momentum back. Curvin skiing some nice shape to these turns on the lower pitch. This course set by her coach, Mary Joyce. And Curvin having a fine run down here. She was fastest at the intermediate. She comes down towards the finish now. Curvin, a good-looking run. Can she unseat Caitlin Finn at the top of the leaderboard? And Curvin across into first place by a significant margin, a second and a half, and that's good news for the Utes, and that'll put a smile on Mary Joyce's face. Hannah Soria now on course from Colby College. Oh, and Hannah getting a little bit twisted coming off the pitch there, stuck on the tails with a little rotation. She had a few bobbles on that first run as well, but Hannah always charging. Again, she knows this hill well. She trained with the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club for several years before heading to Vail and then off to Colby. Now she's got it in check. That was a good section of turns for Soria. That looked like the skiing that she knows the hill. She was third fastest at the intermediate, so she is still in touch, but she's got some time to make up down here at the bottom. Hannah Soria from Colby College approaching the finish line, and she will cross, moving into second position. Just 1500ths off the pace set by Curvin. I think those mistakes on the upper pitch caught up to her. Zoe Zimmerman now on course from Dartmouth College. Zoe, a member of the U.S. Ski Team. Great women's squad here at Dartmouth College. They're looking to atone for last year where they really struggled in the giant slalom at the NCAA championships in Whiteface. Can put together a strong day today. Zimmerman second fastest at the intermediate, about 3/10 back, so she still carries the lead on the overall time ahead of Curvin. It's got to be strong down here at the bottom, and Zimmerman looks like she is. She's cleaned it up, keeping those skis moving down the hill. Zimmerman making her way to the line and across into third position. Just over 4/10 off our leader. And up now it's Helene Christofferson. Helene racing for St. Michael's College. Outside ski getting a little bit shattered up there. But she's managing well over the terrain. Christofferson's got a feel for keeping those skis on the snow. I look for the ski-snow connection, and Christofferson has mastered that. Fourth fastest at the intermediate. She's about 6/10 behind Curvin at the intermediate, so she's got time to make up. The clock is in the red just a little bit. Christofferson looking to pick up the pace down here on the lower section.
Athletic as she's approaching the bottom third of the course.
And it is looking good down here below. Clean skiing, good light touch on the edges. Christofferson into her tuck early as she approaches the line. And Christofferson across into fourth position. Just over a half second out. Now from Harvard University, here comes Elsie Halverson. Elsie, an alumni of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Losing her outside ski just a little bit on that turn before the flats, but didn't cost her too much. She's aggressive into her tuck before the rollers, keeping those skis glued to the snow. Halverson looking to use that home hill knowledge to her advantage. Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club alum, did her training here for many, many years. Great to see her now racing for Harvard University. But a bit off the pace at the intermediate is Halverson. She's really got to put her foot on the gas down here at the lower section.
Halverson, bib number 26, hoping to
It's good, solid skiing from Halverson, but does she have that extra gear? Curvin was really charging down here as Halverson makes her way to the finish line, and Halverson across, and we've got a new leader. Just really nice touch for Elsie on that lower section, brought the speed back. And Halverson, take a seat in the leader's chair. You've got the lead at the NCAA championships. Tilda Kendall is now on course. Tilda racing for the University of New Hampshire. Dropping into her tuck she goes. Kendall really charging up here on this upper section. Tilda from Leksand, Sweden. She makes her way now onto the lower pitch. Up across the top flat, she was second fastest in that intermediate, which puts her ahead of Halverson at that intermediate timer. But Halverson was so smooth down here on the lower section and perfectly clean. Can Kendall match the precision of the Harvard racer? It looks good down here in the lower section for Kendall. As she makes her way towards the finish, she drops into her tuck. And Tilda Kendall from the University of New Hampshire crossing the line, and moving into the top spot is Kendall by over a half second. Carmen Sophie Nielsen from the University of Alaska Anchorage now on course. Nielsen was 24th fastest in that first run. Looking to pick up a few spots here, see if she can get in the top 20. University of Alaska having a solid season, a program that's been fighting for its life. Sparky Anderson and the crew up there doing a great job keeping this team together. So great to see. They've got a great stable of racers. And Nielsen looking strong. Third fastest at the intermediate for this run. That has her right where she needs to be. As we see the sun start to pop out a little bit down at the lower section, we can see the shadows. That's good news for the racers. Their visibility will be improved. And Nielsen crosses into the lead. Again, these racers each taking a chunk out of the one before. Nielsen moves into the lead by 0.4 of a second. And now from the University of Vermont, it's Hannah Larson-Nathorst. Hannah in her first year with the University of Vermont. Last year she was representing Plymouth State at these NCAA championships. Hit the transfer portal, and a catamount she is. And she takes a good run up on the top section. She had that perfect conditions running bib number 1 in the first run. Now having to deal with a little bit of chatter, but not too bad. She was 5th fastest up at the intermediate, so she's got a little bit of time that she needs to pull back down here. But you see the full sun now giving our cameramen fits as they get their camera adjusted to the changing light conditions out here. For these racers, it's no problem. They'll take the sun all day long. As Nathorst approaches the finish into her tuck, the University of Vermont racer crosses into second position. Just under 0.4 of a second behind. It's Mika Anriha's turn on the upper section of the course now from Middlebury College. Look at the angles, the aggressive skiing up on the top pitch, but getting bounced a little bit low. That delay, kind of the saving grace as she makes her way onto the flats. A little bit of air coming off Huey. No problems over Dewey, and Louis, no sweat as Riha over the 3 rollers on the flats and onto the lower pitch. She's 8th fastest at the intermediate, so those couple little errors on the top pitch costing her some time, but down here this looks good. She creates such nice angles with those skis. Really fun, exciting skiing to watch for Riha, but getting bucked a little bit there and mistakes so costly. You got to be precise down here on the flats. So some mistakes up above, that one mistake down here below. Where's that going to put Riha? She crosses the line. It's going to put her into 4th position. Just about 0.6 of a second back. Back to the top, it's Ella Bromey from the University of Alaska Anchorage. Full women's squad for the Seawolves up here. Bromey, the 2nd skier to go here in the 2nd run for Alaska Anchorage. Good solid start up there, getting a little bucked off the 1st roller, but now into her tuck. Bromey with the right racing attitude. She's charging at this all-out race course. 6th fastest at the intermediate. So just a touch off the pace of Nielsen, our current leader, and her teammate. Can Bromey make it 1-2 down at the finish for the University of Alaska Anchorage? It's good looking skiing down here on the lower section for Bromey. Just a little bobble to the inside, but she's quickly back to her feet. Bromey to the line, and she reaches across and into 2nd position. The Seawolves are 1-2.
Come on, Coco, let's go.
Now it's Alexandra Cassette from Middlebury College. Good, solid stance up there. Losing the outside ski just a bit there, halfway down the upper pitch, but the other turns look strong, but throwing off Huey up there. Dewey kicks her a little bit low, but she's all right. Louis, she's through the 3 rollers on the beach section, past the coaches and onto the lower pitch. Cassette, 4th fastest, so she was getting bucked up there on those rollers, but part of it is because she's carrying good speed. Cassette, if she can maintain that momentum, could move into the leader spot. Nielsen from the University of Alaska Anchorage, currently in the top position, is Cassette, carrying some good speed down here. Aggressive, she still has energy at the bottom of the hill. This is great skiing at elevation for the Middlebury racer. She reaches across the line and into the 1st spot. We've got a new leader. By 0.4 of a second, Middlebury College into position 1. And now on course, pushing out of the gate, we've got Sydney Timmerman. Timmerman racing for the University of Vermont. Good smooth skiing on the upper section of this course. Handles the terrain pretty well as Timmerman moves on to the lower pitch now. She's 9th fastest at the intermediate, so she's got to make up some time down here if she wants to unseat Cassette at the top of the leaderboard right now. Timmerman. It's good smooth skiing up there. Timmerman, a strong racer for the University of Vermont. Moving in and out of her tuck here on the lower section, tight on the gates, bashing them out of her way, and she reaches across the finish into 4th position for Timmerman. Back to the top. It's another University of Vermont catamount. This time, Justine Clement. Justine getting pushed a little bit low, but that delay is fine. There's room there to recover in that delay. If she's active over the terrain, she'll be in business, and she's done well over the first 2 rollers. Manages the 3rd well as well. Past the coach's knoll onto the lower pitch. It's Clement, 10th fastest for this run at the intermediate. So again, trailing our leader, Cassette, at the intermediate time now. It's got to be perfect down here. Clement looking strong. She's attacking. She's looking for speed. You see the hands get thrown back as she hurdles herself towards the finish. Clement, it's exciting looking skiing. Is it fast to the clock? The clock tells all as she reaches for the line, and she's moved into 2nd position just 11/100ths back of Cassette. And now it's the University of Colorado's turn. Julia Toivonen, she's got work to do here, the Finnish skier for the University of Colorado Buffaloes. Looking to move up. She'd like to see herself in the top 10, currently sitting in 17th position. Doing a nice job over the terrain. Getting bucked a little bit low on that final pitch, and then has to make an adjustment as she comes onto the lower pitch. Second fastest at the intermediate, though, for Toivonen. And just like Cassette before, just because you're getting bucked around by the terrain up there doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. It means you're going fast, and Toivonen is doing just that. Julia Toivonen, our first skier down from the University of Colorado, here in this second run. Making her way to the finish. She's running the low line, but trying to keep that speed. Moving towards the finish. Toivonen reaching to the line. And across, Toivonen has moved into the lead by 0.8 of a second. A good run for the University of Colorado Buffalo. Ali Resnick now on course from Dartmouth College. Resnick, a member of the U.S. ski team, racing for Dartmouth College. Sophomore from Vail, Colorado. So Resnick should be perfectly at home with these conditions. A little bit softer snow than what they've been training on this year out at Dartmouth Skiway. But Resnick with the nice light touch. She was 10th fastest at the intermediate, though. She's got to pick up the pace if she's going to catch Toivonen at the finish. This is good skiing down here for Resnick. Nice and smooth on the edges, working in and out of her tuck. The weight a little bit further back on her skis as she tries to use the tail to accelerate herself to the next turn, and Resnick crosses into 4th place.
Come on, Drew. Come on, Drew. Let's go.
Her next racer now on course, this is Justine Lamontagne, the Canadian racer. Oh, getting a little bit inside there. Justine really laying those skis over. A little inclination in there. The outside ski going away from her just a bit, but doing a nice job staying in balance and on course. She's really hammering. She's really going after it here, is Lamontagne. Third fastest at the intermediate. If she can hold this speed together, she will take over the top spot. Lamontagne, it's got to be clean. Visibility looks good down on the lower section. Lamontagne skiing strong. The Montana State Bobcat into her tuck early. As she heads to the line, will the lead go to Montana State? No, into second position. Just 0.16 of a second for Lamontagne. As CU holds the top spot for one more racer. Nora Brand now on course from the University of Denver. Brand, no stranger to the slopes of Steamboat Springs. In her senior year at the University of Denver from Munich, Germany. She's competed here often and competed well. University of Denver looking for some more skiers into the top 10. Nora Brand after the first run in 14th. So she's looking to make a move, and she's the fastest at the intermediate. So Nora Brand has the speed up top. It looks good down here below as well. Could we have a skier ski well out in front and really create a challenge for the racers up top? Nora Brand looking not only to take the top spot, but to try to distance herself from the rest of the field as she crosses the line into first place with a lead of 0.3 of a second for Nora Brand. And now it's Olivia Holm's shot from the Dartmouth College. Olivia Holm, winner at the regionals out east at Middlebury Ski Bowl just a couple weeks ago, and into her side, and down goes Holm. Oh no, in just one moment, leaning a bit inside, the skis went away, the feet came together, those skis went away, and Olivia could not get her feet back underneath her, and she goes out in the giant slalom. Such a tough break. The hopes were so high for Holm after skiing so well at Middlebury, coming into today's giant slalom. Oh, and my heart breaks for the Dartmouth College racer. So we have our first victim here of the second run. She goes down to talk to Coach John Dwyer. Such a tough break. These racers not only looking to perform for themselves, but really looking to perform for their team. And that's what makes the pressure so great at these NCAA championships, is they feel it for themselves, but even more so they feel it for their team. And Olivia, you've not let your team down. It's been such a great season for you, and can't wait to see what you do for the slalom. But right now it's Carlota Marcora from Westminster College charging down the slopes. Marcora winning at the World University Games last year. So we know she's got the speed from Westminster College, the Italian. Up top, she's the fastest at the intermediate. So Marcora's got to hold it together. Down here below, you see that body language. She really wants it. She's wondering whether she wants to go into a tuck or not. Just charging. The good news is she's letting those skis fly down the hill. There's no extra turn from Marcora down here as she tried to will herself to the finish line, and Marcora into fourth. We're pretty tightly packed up above. Marcora is going to drop a few spots as Christiane Bekkestad pushes on course. You can see the grimace in her face, the desire from Bekkestad. She absolutely hammered that first run, charging so hard, a few mistakes. And here she is again, pushing the limits. The Montana State Bobcat really wants this race today. She does a nice job over the first two rollers on the flats. A little low on the third, but Bekkestad is putting the pedal to the metal. She's got the fastest intermediate time up there. Bekkestad having a good run. Can she be clean on the lower pitch and across the final flats? That's going to be the question. There's no question that Bekkestad wants it, that she's charging, but now it's got to be precise. It's got to be smooth. No errors here to the finish line. And she could take that top spot from Nora Brand if she keeps it together. Here she comes towards the finish, and Bekkestad crossing the line into second position. Just behind Brand by a few tenths of a second. So Megan Olson now from Colby College taking her turn. Olson from Bethesda, Maryland. A nice first run, a little bit airborne there on that first roller, but it looks like she's carrying some good speed. Olson now onto the lower pitch. 17th fastest up at the intermediate, so she's lost some time up top. She's going to have to pick something up down here, and that's proven to be difficult. As we see skiers falling behind the pace set by Nora Brand on this lower section. Olson's got her work cut out for her. She's down onto the flats now. Can she find some speed here in the final few gates? She's running a low line. She's doing everything she can. As she gets in her tuck and across the line, it's going to be Olson into 8th position. As the sun comes out, softens the snow, conditions are changing just a little bit as Ansley Profit makes her way onto the course. The skier from St. Louis, Missouri, attending school now up at the University of Alaska Anchorage. Got her start at the little but proud Hidden Valley Ski Area outside of St. Louis. Ansley Profit then made her way to the U.S. ski team. What a career she's had. And now competing at the NCAA championships, where she's in 6th at the intermediate. So Profit is in touch of our leaders. Profit into her tuck early, really charging hard through this lower section. It's good skiing for Profit. She knows this hill well, spent a year in Steamboat. Profit approaching the finish. Is it enough to surpass Nora Brand for the lead? No. By 0.02 of a second, she moves into second. And now it's time for Kaya Norby from the University of Utah. A decorated collegiate skier, Kaya Norby, a senior. Getting bumped a little bit low. We start to see the impact of all the skiers on the hill. The snow starting to get chewed up a little bit. The skis rattling just a bit for Norby. But Norby always throwing herself down the mountain, always charging. She's second fastest at the intermediate. That means that she still has the lead in the running time for the cumulative of both runs. And that was a clean section for Norby. It gives you confidence when your coach sets, and Mary Joyce, her coach, has set this second run course. And this is good looking skiing for Norby. Nora Brand has been untouchable down here, but Norby has put together a good run for the University of Utah. Can she do it as she reaches across the lead? And indeed, we've got a new leader. Kaya Norby into the top spot by 37 hundredths of a second. And now it's Hannah Sethering's turn from Westminster College. Sethering was on the podium in third for the University of Colorado Invitational, if I remember correctly. So she's had some fast runs on this hill. Oh, and getting bucked on Huey up there. The terrain really caught her off guard there. And trouble for Sethering, and all the momentum gone as she approaches the end of the flats. And indeed, the slowest intermediate time here on the second run so far. Sethering's got her work cut out for her. Fortunately, she had a good first run, so she's got some time to work with. She can pull some back on this lower section if she's clean and precise and lets those skis run down the hill. And it looks like she's doing just that. Hannah Sethering from Westminster College approaching the finish line. Tight tuck as she comes to the line. And it looks like we're going to call these times unofficial, as it looked like that did potentially pass early. Of course, all of our times are unofficial here as we're calling this race. Sarah Rask from the University of Denver getting a little bit sideways there on the upper pitch. And Rask looks like a solid run, a little bit rattly up top, but she's putting the hammer down. She's in sixth at the intermediate, which is a good position to be. She's in touch of our leaders as Sarah Rask makes her way now towards the finish. Coming off the second pitch nicely now into the flats. University of Denver looking to get off to a fast start in today's giant slalom. Towards the finish she comes, and Sarah Rask finishing unofficially into fifth position. It's tight down there at the bottom. As we work through our unofficial times up there, the word that I'm getting is that Kaya Norby is indeed holding on to that top spot at the moment. But again, all of our results at this point are unofficial, as Evelina Fredrickson from Westminster College awaits her turn here on this course. We've got 6 racers left with a chance for that top spot. It was Magdalena Lusak from the University of Colorado who put down the fastest first run with a pretty good cushion of 0.6 of a second here on this relatively short course. Under a minute, which makes a lead of 0.6 a pretty sizable lead. And Lusak, the veteran, can she hold on to that lead? But the pressure of the NCAA championships makes it a whole lot more difficult than a normal race, especially when you're carrying the load of your team as well. These women really, really want to do well for their team and for themselves, of course. But the great thing about NCAA college racing is that team aspect. And truly, for ski racers that have come up through the ranks, and so many skiers have the goals of making their national team or making the Olympics. And many of them work hard and maybe don't make that level, but make this NCAA level, which is just hardly a touch below that top level of World Cup and Olympic racing anymore. And we've seen some Olympians from the collegiate circuit just after. But it's such a high level that we have here. But the team aspect is what's so unique and so great about these NCAA championships and the NCAA racing, and the friendships that are built are truly incredible. And Evelina Fredrickson now from Westminster College on course, just the experience of being involved in this racing is something that lasts a lifetime. And the sport and the international spectrum of the sport, Evelina from Stockholm, Sweden, it's just so great for these athletes, and Fredrickson enjoying being a part of it. As we see her make her way down the lower section, she's in sixth position at the intermediate, so she's in touch. It is Kaya Norby in the lead. Down at the bottom right now as Evelina Fredrickson makes her way towards the finish. It's been solid for Fredrickson as she crosses the line, and we've got a new leader, Evelina Fredrickson from Westminster College, skiing into the top spot. Third fastest on that second run, but that puts her in first place overall with a 1:55.86. That's 0.4 of a second ahead of Norby. All right, and now it's Liv Moritz from the University of Denver. Moritz tapping those poles over the start wand, fired up to get her run in here. She's a member of the Stiefel U.S. ski team. Hails from Vail, Colorado. Moritz has had some great success on this hill, winning a FIS race here earlier in the year. That's nice skiing over the rollers. Moritz looks like she's on her game today here in this second run. The freshman, University of Denver pioneer, she's sixth fastest at the intermediate. That's solid. Needs to be good down here at the bottom, though. Evelina Fredrickson was fantastic down here, but at the split intermediate time, Moritz still had a slight margin. This is good-looking skiing down here for Moritz. A gutty performance for the freshman from the University of Denver. Here comes Liv Moritz to the finish line as she reaches across and moves into second position. Just under 0.4 of a second back of Fredrickson, our current leader. And now there are three left with the chance to take that top spot. We'll start it off with Madison Hoffman from the University of Utah. And then two University of Colorado Buffaloes will round out our second run today. But Hoffman, this is one to watch. Hoffman did something that is nearly impossible to do. Rarely does it happen in the NCAA championships when you win both the slalom and the giant slalom, which is exactly what she did last year, which was so great to see because the year before, it was a year of recovering from injury, a tough break for Hoffman. But she came back strong last year, took the title in both GS and slalom. And if she puts down a fast run today, 3 in a row, she's really into some elevated territory. So what an opportunity here for Hoffman as she contemplates her run, looks down over town. So we've got a course hold down there for maybe some course repair or perhaps a crossing down below. Hoffman pulling her thoughts together in head and getting ready to go for her run. The 3 racers left. The excitement is about over today, but tomorrow it's going to pick right back up at Howelson Hill when the Nordic skiers take to the center stage and compete in the freestyle classic races at Howelson Hill. Racing action will kick off at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, noon Eastern. So we're looking forward to the cross-country skiing action right here at NCAA.com. Look forward to turning the broadcast over to the cross-country crew, and then we'll be back Friday night at Howelson Hill for the slalom, and then finish things off with the mass start Saturday. All right, Hoffman on course. The Australian racing for the University of Utah, the reigning NCAA Giant Slalom champion, and she gets thrown off Huey, that first roller. But it doesn't phase her. She keeps the speed together well. 13th fastest at the intermediate. Hoffman has lost her cushion. Now she's got to make up a bit of time down here on the lower section. If anybody can do it, Hoffman can. That was a nice, smooth section down there. Again, this course set by her coach, Mary Joyce. She's got the inside intel. Knows what to do down here. Hoffman pouring it on. Does she have the green light to go full gas, or is the job to finish today for her team? Hoffman into her tuck as she approaches the finish and across the line, and she's into the lead. Pulling some time back at the bottom is Hoffman, and she takes the lead by just under 0.2 of a second. And now two University of Colorado Buffaloes standing in her way as Denise Dingsletter, second fastest after the first run, makes her way down the slope. Can the host university get the win today? Didi would love to make it happen. The Austrian looking solid up above, trying to move over that train, using the strength in her skiing to will her way towards the finish. 10th fastest at the intermediate. That has her locked in tight with Hoffman. Hoffman was great down here in this lower section. Dingsletter skiing a little wider line. Not quite as clean, but it's a strong skiing. Hoffman so smooth. Dingsletter so strong. Two different styles. What's going to be the fastest at the finish? As Dingsletter looks like she's picked up some speed down on this section. Dingsletter making her way towards the finish and reaching across. And we've got a tie at the top with one skier left. Dingsletter, Hoffman tied for the top spot. And here comes Magdalena Lusak, a veteran of the World Cup. Lusak for the University of Colorado. The opportunity there is there for Lusak. Asao getting thrown on that first bump, but doesn't phase her. She's back into her tuck. Lusak, she had a good advantage over Hoffman and Dingsletter after the first run, so she's got some room to play with, and she's extended that lead at the intermediate. Lusak looking strong. Is it going to be the University of Colorado solo on the top step of the podium, or is it going to be shared? Here comes Lusak approaching the bottom section. This is a good-looking run for the Polish skier for the University of Colorado. Can CU go 1-2? Just like Utah did in the men's race. Lusak reaching to the line, and Lusak across, and it's first place in an NCAA GS title for Magdalena Lusak from the University of Colorado, and the Buffaloes get 1 and 2. With the tie in second with Madison Hoffman. What a race. These women absolutely fantastic here on the slopes of Steamboat Resort on the all-out race hill. What an exciting race. A tie for second, and Lusak by over a second, your NCAA Giant Slalom champion. What an exciting race, ladies and gentlemen. So we look at the top 10 standings and we start counting off the points for this race. CU with the important 40 points for Lusak's win. Second place for Dingsletter and Hoffman. That's huge for CU and DU. We see 3 pioneers in the top 10, though. So that's going to be real interesting in the standings. I believe Toivonen for CU is just outside this top 10 here. And Curvin was not far back for Utah as well. So the big 3, CU, DU, and Utah, all in the mix, certainly as the team standings get crunched. But what an exciting race for these women on the slopes of All Out. I'm out of breath. What a great day. What a great way to start these 2024 NCAA championships. And the awards for today's exciting race will be in about a half hour. We'll be down at Gondola Square here at Steamboat Springs. And then tomorrow, make sure you tune in to NCAA.com for the freestyle interval start. It'll be the kickoff for the Nordic teams and an exciting day of racing down there at Howison Hill. Again, the start time, 10 o'clock Mountain and noon Eastern. Thanks for tuning in. I'm John Nolting and thrilled to watch this race with you. We'll be back again for the slalom with me, and make sure you stick around for the Nordic tomorrow. We'll see you down at Awards in a half an hour. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing day of racing out there on the all-out race slope for the first day of the 2024 NCAA Skiing Championships. We would like to thank the University of Colorado and Steamboat Resort for hosting today's wonderful event. For our award ceremony today, members of the National Collegiate Men's and Women's Skiing Committee will present individual awards to the top 8 finishers for the men's and women's giant slalom events. Starting with the men. What an amazing race out there today with the men closely packed. Finishing in 8th place from the University of Colorado, Philip Valquist. In 7th place, from Montana State, Gianluca Boom. Your 6th place finisher from St. Michael's College, Simon Strand. In 5th place from the University of Vermont, Magnus Berge Styron. In 4th place from the University of New Hampshire, Isaac Hedstrom. And in 3rd place, from the University of Denver, Christian Solvik. In 2nd place, from the University of Utah, Sindra Michaelbas. And ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the men's giant slalom from the University of Utah is Mikkel Solbakken. Ladies and gentlemen, your NCAA Giant Slalom Top 8. Congratulations, gentlemen. That was some incredible racing out there. And now for the women's giant slalom. Finishing in 8th position for the women from the University of Alaska Anchorage, Ansley Prophet. In 7th place from the University of Denver, Nora Brand. In 6th place from the University of Utah, Kaya Norby. In 5th place from the University of Denver, Liv Moritz. And in 4th place from Westminster College, Evelina Fredrickson. And up onto the podium, we had a tie for 2nd place. We'll bring up first from the University of Utah, Madison Hoffman. And joining Maddie on the 2nd step of the podium in 2nd place from the University of Colorado, Denise Dingslater. And the champion of the women's giant slalom from the University of Colorado, Magdalena Lusag. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for your NCAA Giant Slalom Championships podium.